Let's all stand. You know, it's so good to see everybody here. It's so good to see a full house. Thank you, Lord, right? Today is a special day celebrating you and all your hard work, and it's also a special day on God's calendar. This is an appointed time, and it truly is. Today is Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement. It's a day of repentance, not only for the Jews, but for us. Once a year, on this day in the Old Testament, the high priest would go in and on behalf of the Jews and repent for their sins. But that was once a year. But now, because of Jesus, we can go 24/7 before the throne and ask for forgiveness. He made a way. This is a festival of the Lord, the most holiest day of the year. It's a celebration of the goodness and redemption of God's kindness towards us. We are thankful. We are a thankful people. And I'm so thankful to be here celebrating this day with you, the God-fearing warriors. Let's pray. So, Father God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we humbly but boldly come into your presence and ask for forgiveness. Forgive us for apathy, rebellion, lawlessness in this land, sexual immorality, and for the spilling of innocent blood on behalf of our state and nation. Expose the darkness and cast it out in Jesus' name. And we invoke your presence, God. Come and fill this room. Holy Spirit, come and refresh and revive us. For we are fighting for everything we hold dear, God. We understand what's at stake in the battle against evil. And as we go out there every day, continue to fill us with unwavering courage and boldness to speak the truth. Give us supernatural energy, supernatural strength to get that job done. We will not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we will reap. For we are all created for such a time as this. And together, we ask that you fill every polling place in the state of Arizona, every voting booth with the fear of the Lord. Release your light to push back the darkness. And we decree every plot and plan and scheme of the enemy will be exposed, thwarted, and stopped in Jesus' name. And remove those who will try to unjustly and illegally change the outcome of this election. For we say that God's plan will overwhelm the plans of the enemy. And we pray for protection from any attacks from enemies that would prevent, delay, or derail this election. God, protect Arizona. And we decree that we will settle for nothing less than a victory. God, and we know it's only by your hand. You truly are the God of the impossible. You make a way when there seems to be no way. And we glorify you and we praise you, for no eye has seen and no ear has heard what you, God, have planned for us. For there is no God like our God. You are great. You are the I am. You're going to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ever asked or thought. We thank you, God, today. And we ask, God, that you continue to watch over and bless our man. Bless your man, Donald J. Trump, his family, his campaign, in the mighty name of Jesus. And everybody said, amen.
Thank you, Susan. If you remain standing, I'm going to ask Lori Bango to come up. And Lori is kindly offered to sing the Star-Spangled Banner and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please join me in saluting and honoring our beautiful American flag, the symbol of freedom and sacrifice. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's right. By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
Everyone, if you please take your seats, they'd like to start serving your lunch. Again, please take your seats so we can start serving lunch. Test, test. That's okay. Test. Ready? Hang tight. I'm going to introduce you now.
Test 1, 2.
We have spared no expense. We searched far and wide for just the right master of ceremonies. You might know this master of ceremonies. Well, here's a couple of photos. Couple of photos. Let's see. No, that's not him. It might look like him, but that's not him. And he might have looked like that at one time, but he's changed a bit, and he's cleaned his act up. I'd like to introduce to you our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Ray Michaels. Ray. There you are. Ray, this is now your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear all the way in the back. Can everybody hear good? Yes, you got thumbs up? Is that thumbs up? Yes, all right, very good. Thank you so much. Bob Gomez, please have a wonderful round of applause. Everything that you see here was organized by Bob. He made all of this happen, and it's very, very difficult to do. So thank you so much, Bob. We really appreciate you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, welcome to the 247th Annual Lincoln Day Luncheon. All right, I can see that nobody can hear me, but that's okay. All right. This is a day for your MCRC to show appreciation to you, the PCs of Maricopa County, for all of the enormous amount of time, effort, and dedication to this very county, this state, and to this party. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can assure you that this is a fight worth fighting for. Now, you may ask, why was I chosen to be up here? Well, this area right here, this hotel, happens to be in my legislative district, LD8. I am the chair of that legislative district up until our November meeting, and then we'll see what happens after that. But it is my pleasure, and for those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Ray Michaels. Now, because this is my legislative district, I think they kind of wanted me to come out here and welcome you all into LD8. But we also have a very special guest here who is also in this district, but it's not the legislative district, it's actually the congressional district, CD4. And right now, I'd like to have him come up just to say a few words. Please welcome your next congressman from Congressional District 4, Kelly Cooper.
Wow, what a beautiful day, what a beautiful venue. Is everybody excited today? Can you all hear me in the back? Somebody give me a thumbs up way back there. Thank you very much, Semper Fi. Listen, we're at a critical time and a critical phase here in the election cycle and in our nation. There's a couple of key things that come to mind to me. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Many of you know that. And there's something we say in the Marine Corps. It's a code that we live by. And I say a different one pretty frequently. It's Semper Fidelis. It means always faithful. But it's God, country, Corps. And it's in that order that we are all sitting here today. I hear many politicians say faith, family, and freedom. That is true as well. We are now facing the very edge of the loss of the fabric of our society and our nation as a whole. And with all of you and all the work that you've done, I don't know if you've seen it, but a poll just came out that shows Donald Trump with a 6-point lead in the state of Arizona. Now, under the leadership of Craig Berlin and the MCRC, we've got many great accomplishments this cycle. And I have a short list here that I'm going to read off to you. We've adopted a unifying mission statement. We are the first to pass and publish Trump's 2024 endorsement. We are holding elected officials accountable to we the people, and by God, that's exactly what should happen. When you elect somebody, they are elected to represent you, your views, and your best interest, and that's what Maricopa County is all about. We developed and demonstrated fast and accurate hand count method. We've launched a new voter spectrum canvassing application. Has any of you seen this thing? Holy cow. Developed and launched a voter roll cleanup effort. If there is one thing that I would say in election integrity, the voter rolls being cleaned up is probably one of the top issues that we have to address. We developed and launched a new membership-based website, opened a world-class office, thank you, Jay. We have a 250-member meeting hall, 24 phone call center, training rooms, press conferences, and video productions. Has anybody in this room not been to the MCRC office? Then you know the technology advancements, the paths that we have to make sure that we win this election cycle, and all of that is in aid of, in support of you, the people. The PCs in this district will always be what makes a difference, and your work and your effort is what takes politicians to Washington or to here in Phoenix to represent the values and interests of we the people. It's my great honor to stand in front of you today and say thank you. So if you would give me the honor of giving yourselves a round of applause, please. Now, as we go out every single day and talk to the voters in these districts, it is empathy and it is compassion that wins the day. We have a lot of work to do. You guys have already laid a great foundation for us moving forward in this nation. And with your support, we will restore the values that America represents and the shining city on a hill for every other nation in the world to look up to and continue to look up to. So it is with great honor that we support and applaud you today for all of your efforts and hard work. Semper Fi, God bless, and thank every single one of you.
All right, thank you. That's your next congressman for CD4. All right, I'd like to take an opportunity now to recognize some dignitaries that we have in the room today. So I know we have our AZ GOP chair, Gina Swoboda. Gina, where are you? She may be in the VIP room, and her husband. Rob is right here. What is she doing? She's buying more tickets for the raffle. So thank you for that. And Rob, great to see you as well. Although Chairman Berland for MCRC is en route right now, his lovely wife is here. Bonnie, thank you so much for being here. and he will be joining us shortly. I'm looking around. I've not been aware or been notified of any other dignitaries, but if you do feel that you're very, very important, go ahead and raise your hand. All right, quite a few of you. I'm not sure if we have the time to announce everybody, but if there is somebody, we do want to acknowledge you. I know that the chairman of the Corporation Commission is here, Jim O'Connor. Thank you, Jim. Who else have I missed? Yes, well, we have elected officials. Yes, our national chairwoman for Arizona, Liz Harris, is right over here. Thank you. I could only see the back of your head, Liz, so there you are. All right. Who else? Am I missing anybody else? All right, so as you know, Maricopa County is one of the, if not the largest counties, one of the top counties here in the United States, but it is the largest county that votes Republican. Were you aware of that? In addition, Phoenix is the main hub, and the outlying areas, although they're all very, very important, Phoenix is kind of the main place that people go to. That's where we go. And we now currently have representation in the city of Phoenix that maybe not be working on the best interests of we the people. Do you agree? All right, we have a candidate that you may not be aware of, but he may be here. I'm not sure. Is Matt Evans? Matt, are you here? Matt, are you here? All right, accepting the award for Matt Evans will be... All right, if Matt comes up, we just wanted to show you his face. Does anybody know what Matt Evans looks like? Just raise your hand. Yeah, okay, you all do. All right, so we need to give him support. If you're from the city of Phoenix, just applaud real quick. All right, we need your support. We need to get Matt Evans elected there. All right, so... right now, I believe, Joni, is this you? All right, so we have the chairman of our awards committee. Joni Colson is going to come up right now to tell us exactly the background of the Lincoln Day Awards.
Oh, see, there's my phone is going off to make sure that I'm on time, so. Okay, thank you. It's good to see everybody here. So Ray and I are now going to present the Lincoln Lifetime Achievement Award. You can't? Can you hear me now? I'll lean in like really far. You would think I would know how to do this. Can you hear me in the back okay? Okay. So we're here to present the Lincoln Lifetime Achievement Award and the Ronald Reagan Award. The Lincoln Award is the highest award given by the Republican Party. This prestigious award goes to the precinct committeeman who has given a lifetime of service above and beyond and shows true service to his or her community. President Lincoln in 1854 said, "The legitimate object of government is to do for a community of people whatever they need to have done, but cannot do it all or cannot do so well for themselves in their separate and individual capacities." Now, these awards are given, the LD chairs send in nominees, the chairs and their boards send in nominees, and then the executive board of the MCRC looks at those and chooses the finalist or the recipient of the award. For the Lincoln Award, it was an honor to recommend this PC for the Lincoln Award. Her exceptional service has greatly benefited our community in numerous ways. She created and distributed a postcard to assist individuals who inadvertently had their political party switched to PND without their consent. Additionally, she organized precinct committeemen to walk the neighborhood, helping residents fix mismatched signatures on their registration cards. As our most successful recruiter for new precinct committeemen, she has built a strong and engaged team. Her remarkable, effectively represented. Her unwavering commitment to advocacy and transparency in the electoral process exemplifies her drive to empower constituents and fosters a sense of community. For her tireless efforts and dedication, she truly deserves this lifetime recognition. Do you want to announce it?
And the winner of the Once in a Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Lois Sugar. And yes, you do have to walk all the way up to receive the award.
You, yeah. That's what it says on the trophy, so we're going to let you take it.
All right, now before we get on to the Reagan Award, we sent out information to all of the LDs to have maybe some alternative awards that could be given out here. These may be fun or lighthearted, and we had quite a few that were submitted, but unfortunately they did not make the cut. But we thought that we'd share them with you here this morning or this afternoon. The first award that did not make the cut was the Shoot First and Ask Questions Later Award. The second one was the Are You Sure I Can't Do That Award. The Nobody Told Me That I Couldn't Do That Award. The Because I Say So Award. The My LLC is Better Than Your LLC Award. The A Statute Is Not Worth the Marble It's Carved From Award. The Best Knockers Award.
Wait, hold on. Ray, I didn't think that one, I don't know about that.
No, the Door Knockers.
Oh, the door knockers.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
I get it.
Right? Where were you going with this? Some people are out knocking right now. Okay, all right. And the last one that did not make the cut, the Most Likely to Improve Award. Thank you.
No, I did not. The Reagan Award is presented to a precinct committeeman for his or her dedication to community and civic work, as well as engaging in party activities throughout the year. In 1981, President Reagan said, "If we look to answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it's because here in this land we unleash the energy and individual genius of a man to create extent that has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth." The recipient of the Reagan Award has been instrumental in her LD in many ways, including bringing hand count training to successfully running our elections for our state delegates, served as treasurer, and most recently by our bylaw amendment election, all by hand count. She has trained more than 36 PCs in hand counting procedures. In addition, she has successfully led our signs team, coordinating everything to assure that all our candidate signs are installed and well maintained across the district. She has assisted in writing the LD's monthly newsletter, securing a venue for multiple events. She demonstrated initiative by providing new moves data to precinct captains. Lastly, she has become a creative and effective fundraiser, contributing over $3,000 by selling small items such as signs, pins, and t-shirts. This PC also led the monthly food drive, significantly exceeding all expectations by raising well over the targeted 500 pounds of non-perishable foods for the church. We can't thank her enough for all her contributions to the LD.
And the Reagan Award for this MCRC Lincoln Day Lunch is presented to Carol Wilson. And come on down. There she is.
We come together in His places, and we dance and we live and we learn.
All right, Joni, thank you so much. Wow. Amazing, amazing awards. I see that Gina Swoboda has come back in. Gina, please stand up. Give everybody a wave. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all your hard work, everything that you've done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I have a special announcement. Daniel Schmidt. Daniel Schmidt, where are you? Daniel Schmidt, just raise your hand. I have your paddle here. These are very, very valuable because when you hold your number up, you're going to be able to assist the MCRC in raising some money. So if you don't claim your paddle, I'll be raising it on your behalf. And we do have your credit card number. So, all right, all right. Daniel Schmidt, all right. Also, let's see. We have tickets that were purchased by Glenn and Janice Steinman, some tickets that were already purchased. We have them just right over here for you. I think they bought 2,000 of them. So if your name is Glenn or Janice, no ID is required, just like voting here in the state of Arizona. Just come up and take whatever you'd like. All right, here, I want to put this over here. All right, so we did introduce all of our dignitaries. I realize we have a lot of candidates here, and of course, time does not allow us to introduce every single candidate that is here, but thank you so much for your time, your effort, and most of all, the sacrifice that you make to run for office. We know that it's not easy. We know that we've been targeted with regard to, we purchase expensive signs and people either take them or slice them in half or do something with them. But we did want to, yes, did you? We're gonna put him and then she's late. Okay, all right. But we did want to have best wishes for the former elected officials that will not be returning to office. So we'd like to send special wishes to Jack Sellers, Bill Gates, Clint Hickman, Steve Watson, Ken Bennett, and Stephen Richer. Thank you so much, and best wishes. So right now we have our very first special guest speaker. It's such a pleasure and honor to have him here today. It's going to be a little bit different than the program. One person is being delayed. But you know, many people have asked me about his last name. And they always want to make sure that they pronounce it correctly. And as the MC, I want to make sure that I always pronounce somebody's name correctly. So I asked somebody, is it pronounced Hamadah, Hamadeh? What is the correct pronunciation? And they said it was Hamadeh. Is that correct? Yes, hopefully that is correct. And then the next one, I wanted to make sure, is it pronounced Lake or Lake? So I wasn't sure, but I believe that he's here with us tonight. Is Abe, are we going to, we're going to Abe. All right, there he is, right with a mouthful of food. I was a server, so I have a habit of doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Abe Hamadeh.
Wow. Sorry, I just got here and I still had food in my mouth. Are you ready to win back the White House with President Donald J. Trump? Oh. How many of you going to Prescott Valley tomorrow to see him in person? He needs all the support he can get because that man took a bullet for every single one of us. And the least we can do is get out the vote. And voting has already started right now, so we have to make sure we go out and vote. Get 10 of your friends, truly. Gina Swoboda, you're doing a great job. We have to fight so many of these ballot propositions on the ballot too. And that's something I want to talk to you all about right now. There's a ballot proposition called Prop 140. It's trying to bring ranked choice voting here in Arizona. Exactly right. You have to vote no on this. You know, they kind of snuck it up on us, and that's exactly what the establishment does to us all the time. But if you see right now what we're going through, times are tough, aren't they? We all know that this election truly is existential for all of us. Every single person in this room today has a target on their back if Kamala Harris and the Democrats win. They've already locked up our friends like Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, and so many others. And right here in Arizona, we have an illegitimate attorney general going after 18 Republican friends of ours. The stakes couldn't be any higher, truly. I think freedom itself is at risk, and I think we all know that right now. That's why President Trump, you know, he could be on the golf course. Well, sometimes he's on the golf course, then there's another attempted assassination on him, sadly. But that's the world that we're living in. Political violence is being really shown by the left. If you see what they did to Steve Scalise a few years ago, and that got swept under the rug. And Steve Scalise, he was just out here a few days ago, actually. But the media is who we are fighting because the media right now is hiding the truth. And how many of you watched Kari Lake's debate against Ruben Gallego the other day? And that was wonderful to see because that's exactly what Kari Lake's message has been this entire campaign. Yet the media and the establishment keep trying to crush her. But I'm glad that Arizonans and the voters got to witness with their own two eyes and listen with their own ears about what Kari Lake's plans are for all of us. We all know that we have a border that's been wide open by this radical regime under Biden and Harris. 20 million illegal immigrants crossed our southern border. 20 million. This is not a country when you have 20 million people who are unvetted crossing into our southern border. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are terrorists. Just the other week, we had the FBI sound the alarm that there might have been 10 surface-to-air missiles that have crossed our southern border under this regime. And that's why when President Trump takes office and when I'm a member of Congress and with Kari Lake as a United States Senator, we're going to classify the drug cartels as a foreign terrorist organization. We have to. We have to. It's common sense. These people, they're teaming up with the communist Chinese. There's been 30,000 communist Chinese who have crossed our southern border. They're spying right here in the United States. If you see what happened in California, it kind of got swept under the rug, actually. The communist Chinese set up a bioweapons lab in California. And the only reason why it was discovered was because a city maintenance official went there to say, why is there water connected to this building? And that's when they uncovered it. So what else is the government hiding from us? How deep has the communist Chinese infiltrated the highest levels of government? Look at Kathy Hochul in New York. Her right hand was a communist Chinese spy. This is a very scary situation. Right now, everybody around the world understands that the United States of America is for sale and they're taking advantage of us. And that's why we need people who are not for sale, like President Trump, like Kari Lake, like myself, and America First fighters all across our country. But it's not just the border with all these illegal immigrants coming across. The plague of fentanyl has really destroyed so many families and communities. When I was a prosecutor, fentanyl used to be $20 a pill. That was only about 7 years ago. Now it's gone down to $2 a pill. And it's no longer just in the inner cities, it's gone to the suburbs of our communities. And everywhere I go, I have people come up to me and they're so heartbroken because they know somebody within their family or friends who have tragically lost their lives due to fentanyl. And again, that is the drug cartels south of our border that's bringing us in. So this is why we have to classify them as a foreign terrorist organization. If there's one war we should be fighting, it's to defend our homeland and defend our people from these barbarians. But it's not just the border that I'm going to tackle in Washington, D.C. I think we all know we need to fix our elections, don't we? And trust me, there's nobody who's been more of a victim than election failures than President Trump, myself, and Kari Lake, and that's why we're going in there. We have a plan. And look at here in Arizona. You know, I was just in Washington State. I literally just got back a few hours ago. And everybody knows the problems that we have in Arizona. But I always tell them, the people are wide awake, and it's going to be too big to rig this November. But if you want to look at what's going on around the world too, October 7th just happened last week when you had Israel was brutally massacred. 1,200 Israelis were brutally massacred by Hamas terrorists. And yet we've had this Biden-Kamala administration that has no moral courage to stand with our allies. Instead, they give over $100 billion to enemies like Iran. And right now, Israel had to go in there. Israel's doing a masterful job, though, aren't they? They literally eliminated Hassan Nasrallah, who has been a terrorist of the United States for decades. And they did it so effectively. And by the way, they didn't give a warning to Joe Biden. And the reason why is because they don't trust the Biden administration right now, because they've been waffling and wavering. And what does it say about the United States when we could no longer stand with our allies because we have radical leftist communists on our college campuses who are trying to transform our country? And let me make myself clear, that's exactly what's going on. The communists, they're teaming up. They're using the universities as the indoctrination camps. They're using the media as a propaganda arm. And they're using BLM, Antifa, and radical Islam as their military wing. And you couple all of that, and it's a recipe for disaster. That's why you tend to see that, you know, why are there Palestinian flags and Hamas flags with the LGBTQ flag? It doesn't make any sense. But that's what communism is. It's filled with contradictions. So we have to understand our enemy and understand what we are actually fighting. I know President Trump understands this very, very well. This is not the Democrat Party of Tip O'Neill from the 1980s. This has become quite radicalized, where Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush, AOC are truly the leaders of this Democrat Party, and they're ascendant. And that's why it requires every single one of us to stick together with America First Republicans. You know, I don't care if you come from the traditional side of the party. You know, some people call it the establishment. I'm going to call it the traditional side of the party. Or if you come from the MAGA or America First side of the party. We all know we got to go back to the Reagan principle. 90% Republicans, that's your friend and ally. Unfortunately, so many people on either wing of the party don't recognize that. And you need both wings in order for this bird to fly. So this November, it's going to be too easy. You have to vote up and down the ballot Republican. And don't forget your school board candidates. How many school board candidates do we have here? They are doing the hard work because these are unpaid positions. They're fighting the teachers' unions. They're fighting so many different factions here in Arizona, and they are protecting the future Americans of our children. And it's really important. So make sure you go out, research the candidates, and support the Republican school board candidates. It's so key. That's why the Democrats, you know, why we're caught flat-footed so many times, because the Democrats, they understand that if they indoctrinate a generation of Americans, that's their new army. And all we want to do is go back to the basics. So God bless you, school board candidates, and go out and win and save our country. But if you're looking right now in Arizona, I think we're actually in a pretty unique spot. Truly. Republicans are more united than ever before. I'm looking at the polling. President Trump has united the Republican Party, and that's what we're going to need. If you see the pollings that coming, you know, I don't really care too much about polls, by the way. Everybody thought we were going to lose my primary because of all the polls and all the money. There's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of fake polls out there, and I know Carrie Lake's going to beat Ruben Gallego. And she has to beat him. I mean, Ruben Gallego is the most far-left radical, but this is what the Democrats feel emboldened right now. They think that the Republicans are in a civil war so that they can get their most radical members of the Democrat Party into office. And that's where we have to prove them wrong at every single turn. And Ruben Gallego, as we know, he called the border wall dumb and stupid. He's been opposed to everything President Trump and everything that's truly American here. And that's why I know Carrie Lake's going to defeat him this November, but she's going to need all of you. I know there's so many independents who may not be so certain. This is where it requires you to use your networks to spread the message. But before I end this, I really want to thank you all. It's been a tough few years. You know, when I got back from my deployment, how many veterans do we have in this room today? Thank you for serving. Thank you. When I got back from my deployment, the reason why I got into politics in the first place was because I said I no longer recognize my country. At that time, we were faced the COVID restrictions where they shut down our churches, our schools, our small businesses, wouldn't allow us to go to our families' funerals. That's not acceptable in a free republic. And the problems of the COVID tyranny have only gotten worse. We have a weaponized Department of Justice that seeks to destroy any dissension. And this is what scares me so much and why I'm in this to the very last breath of mine, because I served my country and I'm not going to let it fall under my watch. I know many of you are not going to either. So when the history of our country is written down, let it not be said that we didn't try. I refuse to be known as the generation that lost my country. We're going to be known as the generation that saved America. So Maricopa County Republicans, are you ready to send President Trump back to the White House? Are you ready to have J.D. Vance as your next vice president? Are you ready to send Carrie Lake to United States Senate? And are you ready to vote Republicans up and down the ballot this November? Let's go get the job done. We only got 20 more days to save our great republic. We were placed on this earth for a reason. Own it, and let's go rescue the country we love. Thank you so much, Arizona. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Abe Hamadeh, or Day. Abe Hamadeh, give him a nice round of applause. Now, I'm just curious, did anybody know that we had a national convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Yeah, anybody aware of that? Well, I'll tell you what, some amazing things happened at that convention. Just by applause, who was actually there at the convention? As you all know, Arizona did a lot of things that were pretty amazing there. There were some people behind the scenes that were trying to take the grassroots and maybe not have them have a voice, but Arizona is much, much stronger than that. You've probably seen some of the jackets that were made that said Trump bound in every round. Did you see those? Yeah? Pretty amazing, huh? Well, you may have also seen that, of course, tragically, just a few days before the convention, our president was just barely made it out alive. And when he showed up at the convention, he had a patch on his ear. Did everybody notice that? All right, there was one person who came up with an idea to honor, out of solidarity, show that we support President Donald J. Trump no matter what. But Joe Negley is here. Joe, why don't you give us a big wave? This idea came directly from the brilliant mind of Joe Neglia, and we are very blessed to have him in LD8. Of course, he is the parliamentarian. What's your official title here in the state of Arizona? The parliamentarian. You are the official state parliamentarian. Yes, okay, well, that's good. All right, thanks for helping. All right, so thank you so much. Also, we were able to assist, we meaning the Arizona delegation, we were able to assist some of the other states in making sure that their voices were heard as well. So to all those who are involved in that, thank you so very much. Again, Gina, we appreciate you as you put food in your mouth. We appreciate you. And where is Shelby Bush? Where's Shelby? Where is she? She's door knocking. No, what is she doing? No, I think she's in California doing something. But the two of you, and I just reviewed again the video. Now, if you saw it on TV, you'll notice that every single state, they showed the camera from the very beginning saying, we are this, and here's where we give our delegates to. Yet in Arizona, for the first, 5 or 6 seconds, they didn't show us for some reason. They had some random person up into the gallery, and then they came in at the very end. But Gina was there with Shelby, and of course our amazing team was there, and we proudly stood behind Donald J. Trump, and we have the big sign up here as well. Let's give him a nice round of applause. So it was a wonderful time there, and it was my first time there. It was such a pleasure to be there. But I'll tell you what, talk about unity. We stood strong, we stood our ground, and we made sure that everybody knew who Arizona was and the fortitude that we had to win the fight. So Arizona, thank you so much. All right, so Glenn and Janice Steinman, did you come and collect your tickets? I know we have your tickets. Misty Portwood has your tickets right over here. We want to make sure you get those because right now, I believe that they're starting, or they have been. You can now take those tickets and put it into whichever one of the boxes that you'd like to win those raffles. And I'll tell you what, they've made some incredible baskets that you can take home, you can share, you can re-gift, whatever you decide to do with them, but they are amazing. A lot of hard work went into that. So Glenn and Janice, Misty, did we get them the tickets? Did they finally get them? All right. And then for Daniel Schmidt, we've already placed $1,000 on your credit card going to the MCRC, and we will be increasing that shortly. So keep that in mind, number 321, in case anybody is interested here. Abe, thank you so much. I know you're fighting the good fight. And how's the campaign going? Everything looks really good? Yeah, you feel confident? You're going to win. We are going to win. We do feel confident. Has anybody seen any of the, well, I'll say it, the gaffes that Kamala has been stating? Because right now, we have a very special guest that's coming. I think she's arrived, but she's getting ready to walk out onto the stage. You know who it is, Miss Locke. She'll be coming up onto the stage. But I just wanted to, yes. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, all right, perfect. But I do want to do my quick impersonation of Kamala. As she would talk about any subject. Throw any subject up to the stage. Throw any subject. The border. All right, here's my impression of Kamala at the border. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here at the border, and this border is the line between two countries. And those countries, that have a border have a line that separates the two. And these countries are big. Big countries that, oh, my time is up? Thank you so much, thank you. Carrie, are we going Carrie? Carrie? Are we going Carrie? All right, yes, all right. So, yes, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever they go like this, it means, Ray, just stretch it out and just create something out of nothing. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have our very special guest who's going to be speaking with you today. You've seen her all around you. She's been in your home for many, many years here in the state of Arizona. I don't know if she needs any further introduction, but please welcome to the stage, Carrie Lake.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Wow. Well, that's fine. Keep going. Then I don't have to stretch, okay? But I know what you mean, Ray. I had that happen at the last big Trump rally up in, where was it? It was in Phoenix, or in Glendale, rather. And they sent me out and they said, we're gonna need you to stretch, and we don't know by how long. Thankfully, it was my birthday and the crowd was so nice, they sang me happy birthday, which helped with the stretching. And then all of a sudden they said, rap. I'm like, well, I'm just in the middle of a story, and now they want me to rap. Can I finish my story? So I know that feeling from my many years in television. Sometimes they do this, which means wrap it up, and this means stretch it out. So. But we're going to be doing a whole lot more rapping, because the next 20-some days are the most important, is it 24 days of our life right now? Does anybody feel me on that? I wish we had more hours in the day. I really do, because every single day I wake up and I think, we got to talk to more people, we got to knock on more doors, we got to ring more telephones, we've got to connect with more people in this state and tell them how important this race is. Everyone in this room gets it. I already know. How many of you have already voted? A few? Okay, I did. I already voted, and that's going to free me up to be out there working and talking to people across this state. We already know what the issues are, guys. We got a wide open border. We have crime on our streets. We have an economy that's not working for the people of Arizona or the people of America. We've got gangs that have come into our country, and we have the start of World War III that's already underway. And so we've got some serious issues, and we know that the people in office right now are not going to be able to solve these issues because they caused them. So that's what's at stake right now, and that's why we need to make sure that every Republican on the ballot wins, and that's what our job is going to be, to get people out there voting. I feel like we've already brought most of the Republicans together. The media, of course, full of lies, trying to act like our party is divided, when the reality is it's the Democrat Party that's divided right now. It's always opposite. Whatever the media says, expect the opposite. And that means we have an opportunity to pick up Democrat voters right now. I'm talking about the old school Democrats who don't recognize this party anymore. How many of you are willing to talk to Democrats right now and bring them into the America First movement? I say this is a big tent party, I really mean it. It's not so much Republican versus Democrat right now. I really feel that it is Americanism versus communism. And we are standing on the doorstep. We're standing on the doorstep of communism, and you might even say we've got one foot in the door. We still have a chance to pull that foot back and save this country, but this is the last election that we have to do that, and that's why it's so imperative we do everything we can to get Donald J. Trump elected the President of the United States again. But he's going to need some backup in Washington, D.C., and that's why we've got great people like Eli Crane, and we've got Abe Hamadeh, and I want to help him in the Senate. The Senate's going to be critical to get his agenda through. Worst thing that could happen is if we don't get the Senate, then we've got Chuck Schumer guiding this country, and that should send a shiver down your spine. So we know what we have to do. We got to go get people elected. How many of you had a chance to watch the debate this week? I wish we could have had 2 or 3 more hours because we just barely scratched the surface of what my opponent has been up to. We know that he has voted every step of the way with Kamala Harris. We know that he's voted every step of the way with Joe Biden and this absolute destructive policy that has sent us on a collision course, frankly, with disaster. And so we got to get him out. The problem is he's got a fortune. He has a huge fortune of Soros money to put ads on the air to try to define him so that the people don't really know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with someone who's voted for an open border. We're dealing with somebody who called everybody in this room dumb and the worst people in the world. I look out at this room and I see some of the best people in the world. I really do. And my question to him would be, Ruben, if you think that more than half the population are the worst people in the world, how do you go to Washington, D.C. and represent us? You can't do it. It's just not possible. I want to go to Washington, D.C. and represent Arizona and all of the people of this state. I don't care if you're Democrat, Independent, or Republican. I want to represent all of you. I want to make you all proud. I want to go there and fight for the America First agenda. It's imperative. And I think you all know me by now. I'm not afraid of a fight. I'm not afraid of a fight. Ask my older siblings. I grew up in a family of 9, so I had a lot of experience honing how to argue and how to try to work and negotiate with family members. Somebody asked me recently, will you be able to compromise and get along and work with others? I said, my whole life has been working with others. How will you work with Democrats? I said, let me remind you, I worked in the media. 95% of the people in the media are Democrats. I worked with them every single day. But what I won't compromise on border security and national security. And to be honest, if you want to compromise on border security and national security, then maybe you yourself are compromised. Because why would you want to have a wide open border with cartels controlling our border, which is what we have in Arizona right now? So we're going to work really hard the next few weeks to get every single Arizonan to vote. I don't want to see what we saw in past elections where 100,000 Republicans sat out. We've got to make sure every single registered voter is out there voting in the next few weeks. I'm suggesting people vote early because we all saw what happened in 22. We don't want problems on election day and finding out that we can't vote. That's why I and President Trump are encouraging people to vote early. I know it goes against the grain for some of us in this room, but we got to play on the battlefield and the playing field that we're on. And while we're on this, until we can absolutely secure and shore up our elections, we got to operate in the situation that we're on. I'm trying to see if someone's wrapping me up over here. Are you wrapping me? Okay. I saw somebody moving and I said, they're either doing this or they're doing this. I got a few more minutes. So with my time remaining, I just want to let you know that I have enjoyed getting to know each and every one of you. It has been the great honor of my life going all over this state, meeting voters, but really the best people are the ones who've gotten active in politics. The ones, many of you who've been active in politics for decades, some of you just got active in politics when COVID struck and you realized that the government was trying to take control of your life and force you to get a shot and shut your business down and control your children. And some of you just recently got involved when you saw the censorship or you saw the open border, whatever it was that motivated you to step in and do more. I'm just so glad that you got motivated and we're in this together. I look at you, even though I have a family of 9, where I was raised, and I see my family right here. And we are united as Americans, more united than I've ever seen, and I look forward to continuing to work with you and uniting the whole country when we get to Washington, D.C. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for all of the work you do. I love you all. And get out there and vote early.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carrie Lake. Carrie, this is all for you. Carrie, you got to take a look at this. This is all for you. Carrie Lake. What a trooper. Boy, you know, I've seen Carrie everywhere. I've seen her all over the country. She goes everywhere. In fact, I had the pleasure of interviewing Carrie going back when she first started her campaign for governor. Just a down-to-earth person. What you see is what you get. I mean, just an amazing family. And her husband is always here supporting, in full support. So thank you, Carrie. Everybody getting their dessert? What do you think? Are you enjoying the food? All right, we have our next guest speaker. Are we ready? Yes, he's getting ready. So I had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time with this gentleman when we were at the National Convention in Milwaukee. One thing that I determined, this is a regular guy. It's a regular guy that woke up one morning and he said, you know what, I need to do something. I need to make a difference. And boy, let me tell you something, he is making a difference here for Arizona. You've probably seen him around doing some great things, but I'll tell you what, it's the common sense that we need back for our elected officials. Have you ever noticed that somebody gets elected and all of a sudden common sense goes out the window? Not with this gentleman. He lives the life, he walks the walk, he talks the talk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman Eli Crane.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be here. See some of my friends. Gina, how are you? I saw Mr. Hamadeh. Is Abe still in here? Did he leave already? All right, cool. And then Kelly Cooper. All right, Kelly. Kelly, how are we doing, man? We gonna flip that seat or what? I love it. Are you guys excited about getting President Trump back in the White House? I know I am. When I look at President Trump and what he's done and the fact that he's running again, it's pretty amazing. I've spent a good portion of my life around some very courageous people in the SEAL teams, and I did 3 combat deployments, and I was honored to serve this country in that role. But when I look at what he's done and the fact that he came back, even after they impeached him multiple times, they tried to throw him in jail, they tried to bankrupt him, and now there's been 2 assassination attempts on him, and he's still going, and his mantra is fight, fight, fight. It gives me hope as an American, as a veteran, as a father and a husband, because I know, like many of you guys, I'm very concerned about what we're leaving for the next generations of Americans. And I think many of you guys feel it just like I do, this looming question: are we going to leave them totalitarian, socialistic, marching towards communistic control? Or are they going to be able to grow up with the freedoms, opportunities, and prosperity that we all did? Are you guys concerned about that as well? That's why this election is so important. And I know we always say that this is the most important election cycle, but I think we're probably all in agreement here that this really is the most important election cycle. Are you guys all going to get out to vote early? Good. Are you guys all going to take friends with you to vote? Awesome. We need it. We definitely need it. I know that we have a voter registration advantage, but I do believe that our friends on the other side of the aisle are going to do everything in their power to stop Donald Trump. And I don't believe they care about following the rules at all. I saw it in Congress and up in Washington, D.C. earlier this year, when I believe only 5 Democrats voted for the SAVE Act, which would stop illegal aliens from voting in our elections, after they orchestrated the border crisis, allowing over 10 million illegals into our country. Does it all kind of feel like it's planned out, part of a plan to you guys? Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. We live in some very serious and dangerous times, but the Lord put us here for a reason. It's up to us. I hear friends and colleagues of mine say it, and they say it justly and rightly. There is no Calvary coming. We are the Calvary. And one of the reasons this country is in such a desperate spot is because we've been complacent. We've been lackadaisical. Many of us have been unwilling to do even the most basic requirements of a citizen, and that's get out and vote. I think the other reason that we're in such a bad spot as a country is because we've allowed God to be pushed out of everything. I'm not ashamed to say that, because I'd rather tell you guys what I think is the truth than try and gaslight you like a lot of politicians try to do. Anytime a country or a people pushes God out of their culture, their community, their family, it always ends up the same way. And I think that's what we're witnessing today in this country. So for those of you out there that still believe in the Almighty God that sits on his throne, I encourage you to continue to pray for this country, continue to pray for leaders in this country who are willing to go fight each and every day, whether it's down at the Capitol in Phoenix or in Washington, D.C. I am proud of President Trump and his very robust agenda. Are you guys, is your life better under this administration than it was under President Trump? Did you guys pay attention to the debate when Kamala Harris was asked that very question? Did she answer the question? No. She had that one down though. I was born in a middle-class family. She didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole because they know that it's not in a better spot than it was under President Trump. I love watching their commercials too. You would think that Kamala Harris and Ruben Gallego are moderate problem solvers, when in fact they're totalitarian, socialist, Marxists. They want to control every aspect of your lives. And I never thought I'd see the day in this country where I'd be running for office at a mic telling hundreds of people in a room that that's what we're up against. But again, I would rather tell you the truth and tell you what we're really facing than try and water it down so I don't get called a radical by the mainstream media. We need fighters now more than ever. That's why we need Carrie Lake in the Senate, guys. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't typically judge people by how they handle success or sunny days. I judge them by how I see them react when they face adversity. One thing that I can tell you, as one of the only freshmen in Congress who's been willing to make big moves, knowing that it might cost me my political career, as a member of the SEAL teams who joined the Navy the week after 9/11, dropping out of school, that I recognize the fight in Carrie Lake. We need her. We need her and others like her up in Washington. We need people who don't want to be lifetime politicians, who are willing to give up good careers, good jobs, and the American dream. That's what I thought I was going to do when I got out of the Navy. Honestly, I was tired of fighting. I was tired of watching my friends get killed. I was tired of watching foolish decisions made in Washington, D.C. that affected my platoon and my SEAL team and the jobs that we were doing, what we were allowed to do, what we weren't allowed to do. I thought I was going to live the American dream. So I went on and I started a small business in our one-car garage when I was living in San Diego, and we formed a pretty amazing small business that ended up being featured on Shark Tank. And I was grateful to grow that business, an American-made business, a veteran-owned business, where we manufactured our products here in the United States. And I put my kids in good schools, and I bought my first home, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm so blessed and so grateful to live here. But as I watched the news and I watched what was going on in this country, I could not help but notice the trajectory that we are on as a country. And I couldn't sit on the sidelines anymore, because as a father, it's incumbent on myself and the rest of us to make sure that our kids, our grandkids, and future generations get to grow up with what we had. Do you guys think that that's likely, looking at the headlines and looking at the fools that are running this country right now? I don't. What do you guys think about what's going on at the border? It's a complete disaster. It's a complete disaster. I tell people all the time, I sit on the Homeland Security Committee up in Washington, and I tell people all the time, it's not a question of if, but a question of when we have the next major terror attack on U.S. soil. You guys know that law enforcement just foiled a plan from an Afghan who was here, who came over after that disastrous withdrawal of Afghanistan, who was looking to commit a terror attack on Election Day, right? The sad news is he's not the only one. There are a lot of terrorists in this country right now waiting for orders to make their move. And it's all because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and their disastrous border policies. That is, again, why this election is so important. And it's so important that you guys get out there and you take friends and you try and flip seats like Kelly Cooper here. That's right. Kelly, was that your wife that just screamed? That's awesome, man. That's awesome to have a wife that's behind you and backs you. She also helps you run that businesses, doesn't she, Kelly? She's a keeper, man. I don't know exactly what she sees in you, dude, but hold on to her. Are you guys ready to end this war in Ukraine? Good. Are you ready to quit sending money overseas and start reinvesting it here in the United States? Are you guys excited that President Trump has pulled in individuals like Elon Musk and RFK Jr.? That's one of the things that I love about this guy. He's a businessman. He knows how to build coalitions. He knows how to make deals. and he knows how to use leverage. And that's something, unfortunately, that many of my colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle often struggle to do. Sometimes it feels as if I'm surrounded by a bunch of gentlemen who just want to manage the decline of the United States, and I refuse to be a part of it. And that's why I'm honored to be here today. Alongside so many other fighters and so many great Americans who want to be a part of turning this great country back around. Can we give Gina Swoboda a round of applause for all of her work on election integrity? I'm going to end with this, guys. I want you to pay attention to what President Trump did in Butler, Pennsylvania after he got shot in the head. Picked himself up off the ground, and instead of allowing himself to be rushed to a Secret Service vehicle, what did he do? He pumped his fist in the air, and he told us to fight, fight, fight. You know why he did that? Because that's what we have to do. And he also understands that if at some point these radicals are successful in taking him out, he wants us to understand that this movement, this country, patriotism, freedom is much bigger than him. That's what it's going to take. We got to continue to fight for this country, fight for our kids, fight for our grandkids. We can do this, guys. And like I said, do not leave God out of it. Bring him into it. Ask him for his guidance, wisdom, favor, protection over this land. And I do believe we can turn this thing around, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Congressman Eli Crane, please give it up for him. Wow, pretty amazing. If you've never had an opportunity just to chat with him for a few minutes, really, I strongly, strongly recommend that. Really down-to-earth guy and really just common sense, a great head on his shoulders. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 1 o'clock for those of you taking pills. We do want to remind you. You may say, you know what, we really didn't enjoy Ray as an MC, but he did give us the correct time. And so that's something to think about. All right, so, I remember Eli was telling us that he was on Shark Tank. That must have been quite an event. I can just, as he said that, I just imagined Kamala going on Shark Tank and trying to convince the judges, look, I want to run for president. Now, I left the race early because nobody wanted me, and then I became the vice president that nobody actually voted for me, and then I've never received one election, I've never received one vote to be in this position, but I'm here now. Would that be okay with all of you on Shark Tank? Yeah, pretty crazy. But it's all about what? It's all about our democracy. Who, every time they hear that, gets a cringe down their back? All right, for those of you who have not raised your hands, we are a constitutional representative republic. And in the great words of Benjamin Franklin when he said, we are a constitutional republic if you can keep it. And our goal is to keep it. Bob Gomez, come join me on stage.
Thank you so much for inviting me on stage. I'm going to keep it short. See, these people have raffle tickets, and right now they really love hearing what you have to say, but they really want to know if they won.
All right, well, hang on a second. Has everybody turned in your raffle tickets yet? Did you put them into the box?
It's too late if they didn't.
It's too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
It's only 1 o'clock.
It's like I voted on November 7th. That's too late.
Yeah, not in some states.
In some,
We're just making this up. This isn't planned. Go ahead.
so rather than take the time reading off ticket number 497, please come forward. Okay, we're not going to do that? No. We have some lovely assistants. They're going to put some sheets on your table that tell you who won each item. So just watch for those lovely ladies. They're going to come around, distribute those shortly, and you'll be able to check out as you leave and take your lovely gift basket.
All right, so
This is one of our auction items right here. Ray Michaels, single, has recently got a haircut.
somebody actually asked me, they said, Ray, do you see your future ex-wife here anywhere? And I said, I'm not sure.
Keep looking.
All right, so the tickets that they have, the number will be on the sheet of paper that the ladies are delivering now. So double check your tickets. Did you keep one half of the tickets or did you put them all in the box? Yeah, you got them? Okay, all right, so they're gonna be coming around shortly.
We have. Anyone love to stay at this lovely hotel just for a staycation for a night?
Yes.
So would I. Would you buy? Are you inviting me? No. No, that was wrong. That was wrong. Paddle number 173. 173. Raise it up in the air. 173. Do I see it?
Over there?
Over there? Do I have 173?
Stand up.
There you go. Stand up. I want to see 173.
There she is.
I have a one-night stay for you right here at this beautiful DoubleTree Hotel. I'm done.
All right, now Bob, I see only one person coming up. It's for two. What do you think?
Ray's available for the one-night stay. It's for two people. You're right. Yeah, it is. They're bunk beds. It's all yours.
All right, you know, when Bob asked me to do this, I said, will there be an auction? And he said, yes, of course. And I said, will it be a silent auction? And I thought, well, how do you get anything done if it's a silent auction? Because everybody has to be very, very quiet. No, we actually have an auctioneer that we have brought in. We've spared absolutely no expense to bring them all the way from northern Arizona down.
Matt Evans is here. Matt Evans is here.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have him come up and speak before the auction.
Oh, we are? Okay. All right, so there's just a minor change. Earlier, I had invited up the candidate for Phoenix mayor, Matt Evans. He was not here, but because his stunt double was here, we were going to have him come up, but I understand he's just going to say a few words, because you want to see this face, right? How about a nice round of applause, Matt Evans? All right, so Matt, you're going to be running for Phoenix mayor, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, and you have some T-shirts here that you'll be giving to Joni and myself. That's really nice.
Also correct.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I do this sometimes. I just have to take a. Yeah. All right. Well, I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm going to go ahead and just speak from the heart like I normally do. My name is Matt Evans, and I'm running for mayor of Phoenix against Kate Gallego. I'm running for mayor of Phoenix because Kate Gallego is ruining my city. When she first became mayor, she fired our first responders if they weren't willing to get an experimental COVID vaccine. She defied Governor Doug Ducey's executive order and imposed a mask mandate on the city of Phoenix. She turned her back on small businesses and without warning closed our bars on St. Patrick's Day. She turned her back on Christians like myself and closed our parks on Easter. I have no problem with someone choosing to wear a mask or choosing to get a vaccine, provided it's your choice. This is a free country, and I will fight to keep it that way. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, so this is my hometown, and getting in this race is personal for me. I have a beautiful fiance, and together we have 3 wonderful kids, and there's nothing more we want than to raise them here. But every single day that goes by, I feel like that chance is slipping through my hands. The homelessness crisis is out of control. We have drug addicts passed out at bus stops, pushing shopping carts around half naked, or even worse, smoking drugs in plain sight. I don't care what Kate Gallego says she's doing to address homelessness. Clearly, her strategy is not working. She continues to push this narrative that homelessness is not a crime, but it's just not true. And so when I'm mayor of Phoenix, we will enforce our laws, we will clean up our streets, and I will set a new tone in the city of Phoenix.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Evans. Now, Matt, show us where we can get in touch with you. All right, what is that?
You can see my website, mattforphoenix.com, to support my campaign. Thank you, everybody.
All right, there you go. Are you going to throw those out in the audience? What are you going to do with those? What are you going to do with the shirts?
To be honest, one was reserved for a gentleman by the name of Steve Black.
Steve Black, are you here?
Any other members of the great LD12 out there? I have some more in my SUV. Just follow me after this, and I'd be glad to get you some.
All right, he's got some shirts for you. If you're in LD12 or Matt Evans, we appreciate you so much. Do you want to get one more picture? You don't want me in it? What's going on? Okay, what? No, here, no, this way.
Let's turn around this. I'm right-handed.
All right.
You gotta
This is just a moment. Just talk amongst yourselves.
I'm right-handed, so you gotta get up this side.
All right, Matt Evans. There he is. So I'd like to take this opportunity to let everybody know I was born in a very poor middle-class family. And I can remember sitting around the coffee table, watching my mom cook the bacon, sitting with my nieces and nephews. I won't go there. All right. So we are going to be having an auction right now. We've spared no expense to bring somebody all the way from northern Arizona to come on out here. I was very excited when I saw her name. Now, her name is Brenda Lee. Now, you probably remember songs like I'm Sorry, and what was the famous Christmas song? Yeah, there was another one too. But it's not that Brenda Lee, because I looked at her and I said, wow, you're still alive. And it's Brenda Lee Sherwood, but she's going to come on out, and I'm so excited to have her here. Please welcome Brenda Lee Sherwood. Wow, look at this. I look a lot better right now. Wow, this is awesome. Now, do you prefer to use this mic or a handheld?
I'm going to use this one.
All right, I'm going to use this one
because
then.
I'm going to be out there.
All right, I'm going to be right here. Okay, so we can hear you okay?
Yeah, can you hear me okay in the back?
All right, so
All right.
Brenda, do you prefer Brenda Lee?
I do.
Brenda Lee. All right, Brenda Lee. So we're going to be having a lot of amazing items to auction. We're going to be showing the item up on the screen. I'll try to give a brief description of it, and then we're going to auction it off. Now, I understand that they have a paddle, and they're going to be holding that up. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah, does everybody have their paddles? Show me your paddles. There you go.
Raise them up right now. All right.
That's
now, if
awesome. Keep those paddles up.
If you show us the paddle with the face on it, we can't do anything about it. We need to know the number. So you got to turn the paddle with the number facing, and that's going to be very, very important for us. So you're going to be working the crowd down there?
I will be down there. I'm going to sell the first item up here, but I just want you to know I can't see your paddles from here. And then, oh, thank you. Yeah, turn those lights off. That would be awesome. I can see better already. But I do have 3 members of my team here today. They are along the side. Janelle Rogers, if you'll raise your hand. If I don't see you bid, she will. In the back, I have Oscar Guerrero. He's got his hand up high. And then there's Michael Douglas right in the middle. Michael, if
Michael
you'll
Douglas
raise,
is here?
Not that Michael Douglas.
okay.
It's a cooler Michael Douglas and much younger. So Michael Douglas is here too. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my crew. If I don't see you bid, they will. But the thing about an auction is it's a lot of fun. So that's the number one thing. We're gonna have fun. Number 2, I wanna see your paddles. You showed me those. And then the third thing is there are no friends at an auction. So we all just became against each other.
All right, that sounds awesome. Now,
All right.
tell us a little bit about what type of auction that you do. It may be different from what other people have seen in the past.
I just do nonprofits. I work with nonprofits. I work with nonprofits that align with my values. That's why I'm here working with the Maricopa County Republican Committee today. Yep, absolutely. So raising funds is what I do. These organizations do a lot of great things, and they need money to do it. So that's what we're gonna do. So please keep in mind, as you're bidding, you are gonna get a really awesome item, but more importantly than that, your money goes to this great cause. So open up your hearts as you raise up your paddles, and let's get started.
All right, and we are going to have a lot of fun. All right, so the very first item up for auction, do we have the slides for that? Wow, this should have been at the end. This is
This should
an
have been at the
amazing.
end. It's cool.
So let me just say a little bit. Brenda Lee not only does this, but she actually prepares handmade quilts. She actually does, she picks out everything, she designs it, she does everything. She has a little bit of help from Mom, right?
Yep.
Yeah?
I made the quilt. My mom has a really cool machine, and she machine quilted the quilt. So as you'll see, the quilt is our colors, red, white, and blue. Red representing valor, courage, and sacrifice. White representing purity and our independence from other countries. And blue, to me, signifies strength and vigilance. It does have the eagle, which to me, bald eagles are exclusive to North America, and to me, a bald eagle represents freedom. So start me out on the quilt, raise your bidder number. If you're able to give $100, 100 here, now 2, would you get 3, would you get 4, would you get 5, would you get 6, would you get 7, 700 here, would you give 8, would you get 9, would 1,000, 1,100 bid, 11 here, now 12, 1,200 here, would you get 1,300, now 14, 15 to bid, 1,400 here, would you get 1,500, 15 here, 16, now you gotta be 17, now 8, now 18, 1,700 here, you gotta be 1,800 to bid, 1,700 here, 18, now 19, 1,800 here, now you gotta be 1,900 to bid, 1,800's bid up front, now 1,900, now 1,900, cheer them on, 1,800 here, anybody want 19? She says yes, now 2, now 2,000, 1,900's bid, now anybody wanna give 2,000, now 2,000 here, would you get 2,100, 2,000's bid, now anybody wanna give 2,100, 2,100 to bid, 2,000 up front, now 2,100, 2,000 to you, you gotta be 2,100 to bid, 2,000 here, anybody wanna give 2,100? Sold your way, $2,000.
And that's our AZ GOP chair, Gina Swoboda.
$2,000. Ma'am, show me your bidder number. 29. Thank you very much. Bidder number 29, $2,000. Tell us what our next item is.
Wow.
What do you think?
That's an awesome start for
Right?
sure. All right,
That's
let's
the way
bring
we
up
do it.
Let's bring up the next slide. Oh, this is a 2-night stay at Embassy Suites by Hilton, and that's the Scottsdale Resort. If
Right.
you've never stayed there, it's an amazing place. So 2-night stay, Embassy Suites by Hilton, and we can go.
All right, start me out at $100 on the stay, and let's go. 100 here, now 150, now 2. 200's bid, now you gotta be 250, now 3. 300 in the back, you gotta be 350 to bid. 300 here, you gotta be 350, now 4. Now 4. 350 with you, Michael, you gotta be 400 to bid. I'm 350 here, now 4, now 450, now 450. 400 with you, Oscar, now 450 to bid. 400 here, now anybody wanna give 450? I'm gonna sell it, are we done? $400 going once, now $450, now you gotta be $5. Now $5. $450 here, now you gotta be $500 to bid. $450 here, now $500 here, now you gotta be $550. $500 here, you gotta be $550 to bid. $500 here, you gotta be $550 to bid. $500 up front, now $550 to you. $500 here, and anybody else, $550. $550 here, now you gotta be $6. Now $6. $550 here, you gotta be $600. $550 here, now $600 to bid. $550 up front, now $6. Now $6. $550 to bid. Anybody wanna give $6? Now $6. $550 going once. $550 going twice. Sold your way, $550. Thank you very much. Bidder number 32, $550. Bidder number 32, right here.
Oh, fantastic. All right, let's bring up the next item up for bid. And this right here is called a Bivy stick, B-I-V-Y stick. This is satellite communications. You can take it everywhere, communicate from anywhere.
All
This right here,
start
it's
me
a
out
satellite
on
communications.
The Bivy stick, 12-month plan, right? On the Bivy stick, $250, and let's go. Anybody want to give $250 here? Now $5. $250 here, you got to be $500 to bid. Now $750. Now $750. $500 here, you got to be $750 to bid. $500 in the back now. Anybody want to give $750? $500 here now. Anybody want to give $750? $500 in the back now. Would you give $500 to you? Would you give $6? $500 to bid now. Anybody want to give $600? Now $600. $500 here now. Anybody want to give $6? I'm going to sell it. Are we done? Anybody else? Sold your way, $500. Oscar, your way, bidder number 509. Bidder number 509.
All right, great. Congratulations. And now everybody knows the tragedy that has hit the East Coast recently. When power goes out, and I think millions of people lost power, you're going to want something just like this. Right here, this is a EcoFlow River 2 Pro Plus. It's a 160-watt portable solar generator and the solar panel. It's complete Eco Power solution for when the electricity goes off.
Right, on the generator and the solar panel. Start me out $500 here, now $750. $750 here, now $1,000, now $1,250, now $1,500, now $1,750, now $2,000. $2,000's bid, you gotta be $2,250. $2,000 here, now $2,250. It's still a deal. $2,000, now anybody wanna give $2,250? $2,000, $2,250, now $5,000. $500 here, now $2,750. Now $2,750. Janelle, I'm with you. $2,500, now $2,750. Now she's gotta be $3,000. Now $3,000. $2,750 here, you gotta be $3,000 to bid. Now $3,000 to bid. $2,750 here, anybody else wanna give $3,000? $2,750 bid, now $3,000. Now $3,000. Now $3,000. Does she want to think about it? $2,750 here. Now give $3,000. $3,000 here. Now $3,250. Now $3,250. Now $3,250. It's still a deal. They got to talk about it. $3,250. Now $3,250. $3,000 with you. Now $3,250 to bid. $3,000. Anybody else want to give $3,250? $3,000 going once. Going twice. Sold your way. $3,000. $3,000. Bidder number 286. Bidder number 286. Thank you very much. Yes, cheer them on.
Congratulations. Now, imagine for a moment that you just want a getaway. You don't want to worry about anything, but you want something that is adventurous and something that will be a memory that you can cherish for the rest of your life. Now, this isn't just for you, but it's for you and 3 of your closest friends. So let's see the next one up for bid. This is a private jet plane trip from the Phoenix area all the way to Carlsbad, California. And if you've never been there, they have the Carlsbad Caverns. It's amazing. All right, so obviously people don't know geography, but that's okay. No caverns in Carlsbad, California. All right, so it is the trip and a lunch. It's for 4 people, you and your 3 favorite friends, relatives, exes, whatever it comes up with.
All right, it's playing on the screen. Start me out on the trip for you and 3 friends. $250 where? Let's go. 250's bid. Now we give 5. Now 750. Now 1,000. Now 1,250. Now 15. 1750. Now 2. 2,000 here. Now you got to be 2250. 2,000 with Oscar. 2250 to bid. 2,000 here. Now 2250. 2,000 here. I'm with you, Oscar. 2,000. Now 2250. Now 2250. What's the problem? You can't think of 3 friends? 2250. 2250. 2,000 here. Now 2250 to bid. 2,000's bid. Now anybody want to give 2250? Now 2250 to bid. 2,000 here. Now 20. I'll go. 2250. Now 5. 2250. Now she's got to be 500. 20. She said no. I'm still with you, Oscar. 2,000. 2,000 with you. 2250. 2250. I'm still with you. 2,000. 2250 down to bid. $2,000 bid now. Anybody want to give 2250? 2,000 here. Now 2250. I'm going to sell it. Are we done? Anybody else? $2,250. Yep. Now 5. Now 5. Now 5. 2250 here. You got to be 5. 2250 here. You got to be 500 to bid. Now 2250. You got to be 2,500 to bid. 2250 with you. Got to be 2,500. 22. It's only $250 more. 2250. 25 to bid. 2250 here. Anybody want to give 25? I'm going to sell it your way, Michael. $2,250. Sold your way. $2,250. 246. Bidder number 246.
Now wait, who just bought that? You just bought that? So can I be one of your friends? Can I be your friend? I want to be your friend. All right. Next item up for bid. Now this is the actual satellite phone. Let's bring that up on the screen. This is the satellite phone. It's a 150-minute monthly plan included, standard package with 12 months. This is something that you definitely want to get, the satellite phone.
Absolutely. So this satellite phone, whether you're a hunter and you're out in the woods, of course, with the storms that we've had, you can see the benefit of having this satellite phone. So peace of mind is what we're talking about right here. Start me out at 250 and let's go. 250, now 5, you gotta be 750. 750 here, 1,000, now 1,250. Now 1,250 here, you gotta be 1,500. I'm 1,250 right straight in the back, now 15. Now 15, 1,250 right there to you. 1,250, now 15. 1,250, it's still a deal, now 15. Now you gotta be 1,750. 1,750. She's 15 with you, Oscar. Now 1,750 to bid. Now 1,750 to bid. 1,500 here. Anybody want to give 1,750? 1,500's bid now. Anybody want to give 1,750? 1,500 here. It's a deal at twice the price. 1,500 here now. Anybody want to give 1,750? Going once. Going twice. Anybody else? Sold your way. $1,500. It's a deal. $1,500. Bidder number 254. 254. Bidder number 254. Thank you very much.
Wow, I'll tell you what. Okay, now I want you to look up at the screen. You may remember this guy right here, William Shatner. I think many of you know him, his iconic role as Denny Crane. No. Take a look.
Hey, pal, hello. I'm William Shatner, and let me tell you, there's nothing more fun than riding my Pedigo electric bike. See, a Pedigo electric bike gives you all the fun of a bike, but you don't have to pedal. Pull it over. Oh, come on. Whoa, man, let me help you. There you go. You know, this might not have happened if you had a Pedigo electric bike.
Where can I get one?
You can rent one.
Right now.
Pedigo. Hello, fun.
Brenda Lee, I'll tell you, who does not want to have some fun, huh? Now, we actually have one of the bicycles right over here.
Right.
But we have two to
right,
auction off.
Not
one, but two.
$250 on the bike, and let's go. 250 here. Now we get 5. Now 750. Now 1,000. Now 1,250. Now 1,500. 1,250 here. Are you able to do 1,500? Now 1,750. 15 to you. Now 1,750. 1,500 here. Anybody want to give 1,750? 1,500 here. Would you give 1,750? She says yes. Now 2. 2,000 here. Now would you get 2,250? $2,000 bid now. Do you want to get 2,250? 2,000 here. Would you get 2,250? How about this? I have 2 of them. I'm going to sell it to her for $2,000. I had you in at $1,750. Sold. Bidder number 190. Sold. Bidder number 246. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to both of you.
All right, so that's one of 2, right?
We sold them both.
Are we sold them both?
We sold them both.
Really?
Yeah, we're already done.
All right, who bought them? Who bought them? All right,
Here and here.
Michael, you bought them? Do you want to
Yes,
try
let's do-
one out? We got one right here you can ride around. No, you don't want to, because we can do that if you want.
No, you don't have to try it out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our final auction item. The next, yes, please, let's give us a round of applause.
Yeah,
Thank
come
you so
on,
much.
that was fun. Are you sure?
Right.
Can't we
Thank you so
auction off
much.
somebody? We can do something.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your generosity. We do have our next part of this program, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what it is. This is just what we call the paddle raise. Maybe you got outbid, maybe you don't get to have the bike, or maybe the video scared you and you didn't want to ride the bike. It kind of scared me. This part of the program is just simply give to this great cause. So get your paddles ready. We're going to have an opportunity to give at a level that fits every budget. The fight we have ahead is very vital. We all know that. It takes funds to continue. So I'm going to ask if anybody feels it in their heart to give at the level of $5,000 goes directly to the MCRC. If you want to give, raise your paddle and give $5,000. And that's okay, we're gonna go right down to $2,500. So if that's a level that works in your budget, thank you very much. Bidder number 29, bidder number 32, $2,500, yes, please, let's cheer them on. Bidder number 241, thank you very much, another $2,500. Anybody else at the $2,500 level? $2,500. Thank you very much. The next level of giving is $1,000. If $1,000 is the budget level that works for you, will you please raise your paddle high? $1,000. Can anybody give at the $1,000 level? Thank you very much. Bidder number 700. Thank you. Yes, please, cheer him on. Anybody else at the $1,000 level? We're going to go right to $500, and everybody's going to have an opportunity to give tonight. $500, if you can give. Thank you very much. I can't see the bidder number. 291. Thank you very much. $500. Anybody else at the $500 level? Bidder number 320. Thank you very much. $500. Bidder number 15. Thank you very much. $500. Yes, cheer them on. Anybody else at the $500 level? The next level of giving is $250. If that's the level that works for you, thank you very much. Bidder number 9. Bidder number 296. Bidder number 296. Anybody else at the $250 level? $250. We're going to go right to the $100 level. This is a place everybody can give. If you can give $100, raise your paddle. 287 355 26201 191 357 257 197. Bidder number 338 177 391 30224. Thank you. $100. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody at the $100 level? Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause to everybody who gave. And we are going to do one more level. And I want to tell you a quote by Danny Thomas, who is the founder of St. Jude. I love this quote because he says he would rather have $1 from 1 million different people than $1 million from one person. And the reason is because then he has 1 million people behind his cause. It's so important. hear that we have everybody behind our cause and every level of giving makes sense. So if you can give at the $50 level, please raise your paddle. $50, bidder number 256, bidder number 246, bidder number 69, bidder number 6, bidder number 132, bidder number 510, bidder number 397, bidder number 180, bidder number 53, bidder number 295, bidder number 345, bidder number 108, bidder number 206, bidder number 11, bidder number 506. I need help back there.
Yeah.
Bidder number 397. Bidder number 102. Bidder number 64.
All right, Brenda Lee, we have 77, 176.
Bidder number 176, bidder number 77, all gave at the $50 level. And I'm telling you, when one or more are gathered in my name, right? Please give yourself a round of applause. Again, my name's Brenda Lee Sherwood. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Brenda Lee Sherwood. Wow. And your amazing team, Brenda Lee. We appreciate it so much. And we thank you for the kind words about Maricopa County and what we're doing over here. All right. Amazing. You know, I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to come back to the main one. We are waiting for our chairman of MCRC to arrive back with our very special guest speaker. But I wanted to tell you just a little story. I happened to meet a gentleman, and he had shown me what he did with his talents and his ability. He doesn't know that I'm talking about him right now, but we were able to put together an event as well. And he showed me a video that he wanted to be played. Now, I think we kind of missed out on seeing that because it started earlier tonight. But I really want you to take a look at this, because this video was written and recorded by this gentleman. It's Bruce Arlen, right over here. Bruce, just give us a big stand up. He sent this into the Trump campaign, but you did everything. You did the writing, the recording, you did the video, everything. And it's something that, you know, this is a gentleman who's incredibly talented. He wanted to put in his talents. He wanted to make sure that people knew how he could show his appreciation. Because you know what? Every single one of us has a different talent. Maybe it's a talent to have a conversation with somebody. Maybe it's a talent to write or to sing. Maybe it's a talent just to convince somebody or to run a business. We all have different talents, but that's what makes this body of MCRC so strong, so lasting, so powerful, is because we all put in our own talents to make the whole so much better. So, Bruce, with your permission, I've asked them to cue up that video one more time. I want everybody to really take a look at what it takes to write the song, go into a studio, record it. He performed on it. In addition, he put the whole video together. So right now, Bruce Arlen, thank you so much.
When you're up from a fall down, stay on your feet, fight another day. Now you know you're in trouble, but I won't let them shut you Praise the people who have friends and family. The most important thing that keeps us all alive. Stand with me, shoulder to shoulder. It's been too long since it's been one side. Now, I'm here. I'm going to help you win. I'm never gonna back away. And together we'll fight 'em. We'll fight 'em. Together we'll fight 'em. We'll fight 'em. Together we'll fight 'em. We'll fight 'em. Fight on, you and me.
Hey, Bruce. Bruce, would you mind? I don't want to embarrass you. Come on up here. Come on up. Come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Arlen. I'm not sure why you're in the cheap seats back there behind the stanchion, but come on up, Bruce. All right, so Bruce, I just want everybody to know. Now, we did an event, but it was many months ago. You had the video up here, but this was way before the tragedy that happened before our national convention. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
You have 30 seconds. No.
Okay. 28, 27. Oh. I actually wrote this song 2 years ago. And it really was not about Trump. It was about the idea of Trump. It was about the idea of a leader. And I imagine what it would be like for a person to inspire others. And I wrote the song, I recorded the song, and decided at one point in an earlier version to make this video. Then the assassination attempt happened, and I thought, my God, this is a God thing. It might work perfectly with the July 13th assassination attempt, and it did. So, well, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks. So, you know, Bruce, he works with like-minded people, very intelligent people with true hearts of service. Now, I want to point out Justin Moscow. You can't see him. He's behind the screen over here, but you probably saw him out here. He's the tall guy. Can you pop your head out, Justin, real quick? All right, you see him in the shadows. There he is. Justin Moscow. He's got a company, and he's just been doing so many great things, and he does all of this. He does a lot of stuff for some of the bigger candidates as well. But he sat down with Bruce, and they weren't sure if they could edit it in with what happened back in July, but it worked out perfectly, as Bruce said. So thank you so much. But wow, just to see Together We'll Fight 'Em, and here's Donald J. Trump saying, fight, 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 and it is truly a fight worth fighting for. So thank you again. Congratulations. Yeah. You know, sometimes we see things that are happening all around us, but we're distracted. We don't really have an opportunity to focus on one. Does anybody else have ADD? I'm just curious. Hey, squirrel. No, that's not it. Okay, never mind. All right, so we are now awaiting our guest speaker. She's being flown in from Carlsbad, as you know, wonderful pilot known by his position as MCRC chair. They are on their way, they're en route. But I think now is the appropriate time that if anybody needed to take a bathroom break, if you'd like to maybe get another drink or anything like that, we're just gonna take a short, maybe 10 minutes. So please make yourself comfortable, walk around, but we do call back everybody here in about 10 minutes time. So thank you so much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you could take your seat, we're ready to move on now. Before we get to our keynote speaker, if everyone could take their seat, we're going to welcome our very own chairman, Craig Berlin, to the stage.
All right, I was planning on reading this speech about 2 minutes before I had to give it, but I got here a little late. Can everybody hear me? Okay. I'm so glad to see you made this event today a priority. 2024 has definitely been an e-ticket ride so far, and I predict we haven't seen the best nor the worst of 2024. I pray every day, and I believe that Donald Trump will be our next president, and that we will control the House and the Senate in 2025. Those results will definitely be the best that 2024 could possibly deliver. At that point, we can all step back and slap each other on the back and congratulate our fellow PCs on a job well done. However, I also believe the worst of 2024 will follow immediately after the best. I predict we will see extreme chaos with our neighbors, within our neighborhoods, and our businesses burning. So instead of sitting back for 6 months for a well-deserved break, we will be called upon to support our legislator, our police department, and our military in rebuilding our republic. While I hate to predict such dark days, I believe that we knew this was coming. After the Biden-Harris disaster the last 4 years, where they actively participated in open borders supporting child sex trafficking and drug distribution, flying 585,000 convicted criminals from all countries into our country, pardoning them and making them legal residents, and finally creating a crippling economy, robbing the well-being from our middle class and our most vulnerable citizens. After all that, what else could we expect? Our republic has been pushed to a breaking point. With that said, I also believe we are at an apex. And after President Trump takes office, we, that is all of you, will start a slow rebuilding of our country to the peace and prosperity that we once knew. I hope you had a wonderful day today. We just got in from California just 2 minutes ago. Hope you had a wonderful day today, because quite honestly, our work is just beginning. This is just the start. Thank you.
Any direction you walk, all you find is more destruction.
Thousands of angry Somalis and heavily armed gunmen were locked in an intense battle with the Americans.
We were caught in an ambush with his troops along the frontier.
So it was a policy of total annihilation.
Do you think they will attack you before you attack them? How many shipwrecks do you think are down there?
You've been described as the greatest American rock band. Is that how you feel?
Are you among the last people on Earth to speak this language?
And if you look at the U.S., what are you most worried about here?
This is traditional Yakuza turf. They run everything here, from the girls to the sex to the drugs.
Did you care if the species goes extinct? Does that mean anything to you? Why do you want to kill them?
Derek and Beverly took us deep into the Delta to see the lions.
What is it like to be charged by a lion? Is that what a mother chimp would do?
No. Only Mama Jane.
Coney rules by fear and claims he has mystical powers, a formidable combination in the minds of the children he kidnaps.
You were part of an army that taught children to kill, where young girls were raped.
All these people who are doing atrocities do it under constant instruction.
Including you?
Yes.
The most obvious thing when you look at these walls is that it's all men. Up there is the past directors. And you went from 0 to prime minister in about 8 years. So were you high? Were you using it?
Oh, yeah, I was.
And that's why you fell?
I was. But the bed would be right there in the middle.
Yeah. And you'd all sleep in one bed?
We'd all sleep in one bed.
Happy memories?
The best.
What happened to a lot of the other kids that were on the streets with you?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of my friends are either dead or in jail.
What kind of soldier are you?
I'm average. I'm mediocre.
This is the single greatest honor that the military can bestow on its own. And it comes right from the President of the United States himself. That's pretty good for a mediocre soldier.
Think how good the great soldiers are.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Lara Logan.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. I use the video as the excuse to dim the lights. This is kind of a little more flattering. I like it. Okay, so thank you to Craig, who picked me up in his plane, which he just parked in his garage. Okay, that's called a hangar home. I didn't know those existed. So wow, that's kind of amazing. I'm so glad that he could do that because I didn't want to miss this event. It's too important. What you're doing here is too important. Where's Jeff Zink? Is Jeff here? He's not here. Jeff's the guy who got me here. Okay. Jeff, you didn't even show up for my speech? Damn. Okay. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Maricopa County. Wow. Can you imagine that, like, the fate of the world rests in your hands? How did that happen? Right? I mean, that is something else. If you ever really, truly doubt the power of the people, you are living it right here in this moment. And can I just say, what the hell have you been doing with it? We're in trouble, right? And all of you recognize, actually, are there any rhinos in the crowd? Because you guys, you gotta go, sorry. I mean, I just want to be clear who I'm talking to, because you're either a soldier in this fight or you're on the other team. And if you're on the other team, you got to go. Because you're in the wrong spot, right? I don't know how you ended up here, but you're in the wrong spot. And I don't mean to sound belligerent or antagonistic. I just am speaking to the urgency of the hour, of where we are in this moment. And I would say to you this. We have an elephant in the room, and it's not the elephant that we're familiar with. The elephant in the room is that you are a party at war with yourself. And that is playing out all over the United States, but we know the most important counties. You know that as Maricopa goes, the state goes, and so you understand the weight of the responsibility in your hands. How does a state that is mostly Republican end up with a Democratic governor and Democratic Secretary of State and Democratic Attorney General? How does that happen? Okay. I like the audience participation. That's good. These are not rhetorical questions. Okay. So, you know, probably everything you shouted out is accurate. But let's take a step back, okay, and try to understand where we are. When you have elected leaders who do not represent the will of the people, of the majority of the people, that tells you that something has gone wrong. And that can vary from place to place. Cedar Park, suburb of Austin, that is in exactly the same position. It's like 99% conservative, and there's one conservative on the city council. How does that happen? Well, some of it is money, okay, because an organization called Indivisible comes in to help local leaders, and they pour money into these races, but nobody looks at where the money's coming from. I think you have a little bit of that kind of problem in Maricopa, right, in Arizona. Where's the money coming from? Well, the money comes from two places. Some of it comes from Soros, and not just Soros, but what has Soros built? He has built an empire, okay, and that empire is networked. What does that mean? It means it doesn't have to take orders from a central authority. The network exists to function on its own. If you really are interested in the concept, I think there's a book, The Starfish and the Spider, which is about networked warfare. That's what Al-Qaeda does. That's what all these Islamic groups do. That's why, you know, you catch this guy, and all that it does is shut down that cell, and it doesn't shut down the network, because they have compartmentalized everything. What they have built is a network of affinity groups. So on the one hand, you have the NGOs, you have the Open Society Foundation, Kellogg Foundation, Knight Foundation, Tides Foundation, BLM Foundation, and so on and so on and so on. What do you have beyond that? Oh, well, look a little closer. Tides Foundation has an international network, and then they have a policy foundation, and then they have Open Society has a university. Open Society Foundations has their own university. And they build out from there. The origins of all of that trace back to 1913, right? And when we, under the federal law, gave nonprofits 501(c)(3) status, tax-exempt status. So we began one of the largest, most damaging, most lethal money laundering operations ever witnessed in human history. And we gave it the cover of law. Not every nonprofit uses it for that, but they do. They launder money to each other. What do I mean? Well, the Tides Foundation, they manage BLM's global network. So the money comes in, it goes from one, it goes to the other. Who else is in their network? So you have all these NGOs. Why do they really matter? Well, they matter for a reason that goes up, and they matter for reasons that go down. So they tell you that they're grassroots. They're not really grassroots. The grassroots are kind of under their umbrella. They are harnessing the grassroots to be what? To be two things. To be the enforcers, the brown shirts, that's your Antifa organizations, who are also part of these affinity groups, And then you have your local government. Local government is built in this situation on money, corruption, and loyalty, right? So I am a transgender person, and I feel that I have been rejected by the society, but these people understand me, and these people are funneling money, and these people support my identity, and whatever it is. Pick a thing. It can be mutual aid societies, which are collectives, which are Marxist organizations. So it can be that you care about your community, and you care about, equitable outcomes, and where does your money come from? The same affinity groups, the same network, right? You can be the Animal Rights Federation. I care about animal rights. So you are now part of my loyalty network. Outside of this network, there is no funding. There is no life, right? They die outside of that network because they're built on, say, Marxism, which is profoundly anti-American, or they're built on a lie, like a mass delusion. You can't change your gender. Sorry. Ain't gonna happen. God assigned who we are. It's in every fiber of our DNA, and to believe you can alter it is a delusion. Do I wish harm on people who are genuinely, severely deluded? Never. I don't wish harm on anybody. There's a couple people on the list, but you know what I mean. Okay. Actually, it's quite a long list. It's getting longer all the time. But I do understand vengeance is mine, said the Lord, and I got to give it to God. Okay, so I give it to God. But I am Sicilian, so I got a little Irish Sicilian, more than a little Irish Sicilian in me. So I do have a kill list, but it's in my mind only, I realize that's not how you can operate. Okay, this is so, I don't know why this is important for you to understand, but I just want you to know that this comes through me. It comes from God, and there may be many people in this room who don't follow God. I hope you can put that aside and understand for a moment. I say that because I am an instrument of something much greater than myself, is my point. So in this world where you have these affinity groups, you have within them your Marxist collectives, your animal rights people, who, by the way, have organizations in more than 120 countries. Why is that? I think EFF, is 86 countries. Open Society is more than 120 countries. Why do they need offices all over the world? Do you start to see the local government networks of the global government, of the global institutions? They operate at a federal level. The United Nations, the World Health Organization, and so on and so on. These World Economic Forum, these world organizations, they operate as your federal government. The affinity groups, right? They're financed by the NGOs. So they appear to be on the same plane as the NGOs, but they're not really, because those who control the money control the local networks. So what happens within this? Well, you also have the Sunrise Movement. What is their job? Their job is to go into your schools. Their job is to indoctrinate your children. Their job is to form loyalty networks, and they call them movements. But what are they really behind the loyalty? Behind the movement is loyalty, because you're taking a lot of kids today going to college, and amazingly, when they come out, they're effectively unemployable. That's okay. That's okay, because the people indoctrinating them don't want them to be traditional doctors and lawyers and so on and so on. What are they good for, a lot of them? They've just become activists. They're professional activists. They join one foundation after another. They join one collective after another. And did you know there are literally pop-up NGOs that when you have, say, Brett Kavanaugh is going for his confirmation hearing to the Supreme Court, well, just like you have pop-up shops, they have pop-up NGOs. And they pay these, so when they use their umbrella of their 501(c)(3) status, and under that established organization's umbrella, they sponsor you now as a surrogate, and you pop up. And all you do is you dress in white robes, and you smear red paint on you as symbolic blood, and you go to the Supreme Court every day, and you send a message to the world. Brett Kavanaugh's a whatever, I don't know. I don't even understand their messages half the time. It's just not worth the effort because it's all lies. So the point is that you have this appearance of a groundswell against Brett Kavanaugh. It's the same people. Where one day they're wearing a BLM hat, the next day it's an Antifa hat, the next day it's a, Women for Democracy, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Welcome to the show. Okay, so what is so important about that show? Well, everybody knows where are the best seats in the house. They're right up front. You have the best seats in the house. Maricopa County is one of the best seats in the house, right? I'm not saying that to flatter you. I'm saying that to light a nuclear rocket under your ass. That's what I'm here for. That's why Craig has a plane. He didn't know that was why he had a plane, but that's why. Okay, that's why I am here today. Because this well-established network of affinity groups has well-established networks of coordination. They have a legal arm in the ACLU, the National Association for Lawyers, the Global Alliance of Lawyers, the Lawyers Guild. You can find them online, one after another after another. You know what's so interesting about history? Remember that little thing called history that they want to erase? That little thing called history lifts us up and shows us the truth. It allows us to rise above the roar, because what we hear around us is a roar. You go on social media, it's a roar. Gosh, I went on Facebook the first time after a couple of years and I was like, why did I do this? Why did I do this to myself? Why did I literally walk across into the enemy lines and take a knee and let them put a gun to my head and pull the trigger? Why did I do that? It's not worth it. So they have the legal side of it, the legal arm. They have their little brown shirts in Antifa who are trained. And let me tell you, there are different levels of training within Antifa. If you look closely and you know what you're looking for and you've studied it, you understand it. So they have, first of all, they have a well-published schedule for meetings. They meet in bookstores all over the United States. They meet on college campuses or just off college campuses. You can, the Slingshot Collective, I believe it's called, is where you can go and see lists of their meetings. You can't just walk into a meeting. You have to be approved. They do significant vetting before they open the door to you. And then as you go to more meetings and get more involved, the vetting becomes more and more significant. So some people, and I would urge all of you, if you're interested in understanding this, if it comes to Maricopa, maybe they don't dare, but if it comes, I know it's in Arizona already, we've seen it here before, but if you want to understand what you're looking at, go to a website called crimethink.com. Crimethink with a C on the end. Well, this is literally an anarchist treasure trove of information. Like if all those false narratives that you see debated in the media, don't bother. Just go to CrimethInc, because they're telling you the truth. They'll give you the 22-step plan of how the anarchists, Antifa, took the, whatever it was, precinct in Minnesota after George Floyd's death. They lay it out for you. If you want to know how it happens that once this is set in motion, there's another, black kid that's shot by a cop over here, and then another one shot over there. Well, they tell you on CrimethInc. I mean, they have squads, and they believe civilian shields are very important. So they use people, preferably if it's a race issue, they'll find, people of that race, and the younger they are, the better, because if they're at the front of the rioters, they're the most likely to be shot or hurt. And they know there is going to be violence because they have trained agitators that will incite that violence. So you have squads whose job is to loot. Within the looting, there are different squads, some who loot to feed the protesters, some who loot to reward the protesters. There are looters that loot for morale. right? And there are some that loot to cause chaos, some that loot because it's targeted. Those cities are mapped out in advance. The businesses are mapped out in advance. They know who to target, who not to target. Isn't it weird that AutoZone always gets burned down? I mean, wherever you go, it's like I gotta look at who owns AutoZone, because obviously they don't like those people. You know, or maybe there's just always an AutoZone in the areas that they choose, but it's systematic. And once you start to recognize those patterns, they are a roadmap to the truth. Because when things happen organically, there are no patterns to them, are there? There just aren't. So when things are out of normal, i.e. the absence of normal is abnormal. Abnormal is typically engineered. There's a human hand that's involved in that. And breaking it down, okay, as to how did all these people from across state lines get here? Who paid for their flights? Who paid for their flights? Why do they come from across state lines? Is it because, let me see, if you get charged, you can just go back across state lines and ignore those charges? Why did they get so upset in Portland when Trump brought in deputy USAs with law enforcement officers that were not under control of the local DA or the local governor or the other people who don't represent the will of the people? Why did they get so upset? They told us there were stormtroopers and Trump was militarizing America, and that they said these people had no badges and that they were renditioning people on the streets of America. Okay, so how many of you bothered, to figure that one out, right? That first of all, if you slow down the pictures, they did have patches. Who did they belong to? Well, these are part of BORTAC. BORTAC, and I forget the name of the other organization, they were created in the wake of the LA riots for precisely the purpose that they were sent to Portland to carry out. Nobody was arrested without a warrant because they worked hand in hand with the deputy AUSAs. But by bringing them in and bringing in federal charges, they took power away from the state people who were fomenting and pushing the violence. That's why they went nuts. So when you see everyone in the media agreeing, you can be absolutely certain that you are being lied to. Absolutely 100% certain. So roadmap to the truth is one of the things I want you to take away from here. Because the more they attack someone, the more they attack and push a certain narrative, the more questions you should ask about that. The closer you should look at it. Because why? Because all that time, money, resources, personnel, infrastructure, organization, equipment, and so on and so on and so on, they don't give that up unless it matters. They don't bother to target you if you're not a threat. So I don't come to you today as someone who says, feel sorry for me because I've been targeted. Oh, shame, don't you feel sorry for her? No, I come to you as someone who was chosen. Not only do I not care what they write and say about me, like I really don't care, but more importantly, I'm too busy in the fight to waste time and energy on the attacks. I don't need to. I don't need you. I don't need your approval. I don't need your awards. I don't need any of it. I got awards from here to Timbuktu. What do they mean today? Nothing. Nothing, because you disgraced and dishonored yourselves. So when you look at the riots, if you're looking at Antifa, notice how everybody wears the same. Well, on CrimeThink, they'll tell you there's 20 articles, unless they've removed them, telling you how they replicate this tactic all over the world. So that's a global organization, right? They tell you, what are the lessons we learned in Hong Kong? What are the lessons we learned in Moscow? And they share this information. And they're never held accountable, so they use the public space. So they will tell you that they dress all in black, because then when someone says, I saw someone breaking that window and telling people to go loot, they say, what do they look like? Well, they're wearing a black hoodie. And, okay, do you see the picture? Right. So what do they warn against? Identifying marks, tattoos, pink hair, whatever it is. Don't let it be seen. They loved COVID. They loved it because they weren't the only people wearing masks. And when you have to hide who you are, I'm sorry, but you don't walk in the light. You walk in the dark. And I don't walk in the dark. I don't play in the dark, and I don't walk in the dark. That's not who I am. Then look at the people with umbrellas. Isn't it amazing, whether it's raining or not? They've always got these umbrellas. Well, umbrellas can be used against security cameras, facial recognition. They can be used to hide your identity. They can be used to hide your actions. And they also sometimes are equipped with knives. So they can be used to break windows, to stab people, to do whatever they want. Their entire identity is founded on deception. They tell you, we're peaceful protesters, but you burn down cities. You get the idea, right? I don't need to labor the point. They tell you they care about, they're fighting fascists, but you're fascist. You don't believe in freedom of speech. You don't believe in freedom of religion. You don't believe in free markets. You don't believe in freedom of association. You don't believe in free thought. No, you must obey. Follow our line, or you don't have a right to exist. That's what the basket of deplorables was about, right? And I'm not jumping somewhere else. I'm showing you, here is a direct line from the brown shirts and the enforcers on the street who are there to terrorize you and burn your communities to the ground, and the higher echelon of the political elite. Because they both believe that you're worthless. And not just you. This is what they don't yet understand. You're just first in line. Because if you listen to Yuri Brezhnev, the Soviet leader who later came to the West, if you listen to what he says, what they don't understand, these are his words, you can look up this quote. He says they don't understand that when it's done, when the takeover is complete, they will be the first ones to be lined up against the wall and shot. Because they know too much about how it was done. So they're just idiots. But they have the ability to cause a lot of harm, right? So we fear them. We don't fight them, we fear them. We don't even know how to fight their tactics. They go up and down the line of police. We broadcast it on television, and all the time they're doing this. Agitators, trained to agitate. Do they only do it to white cops because white cops are white supremacists? No. They do it to black policemen, Hispanic policemen. They do it to anyone because the narrative is a lie. So, that's a fairly comprehensive picture to you of the local government loyalty networks that they use. So where does the money come from? Well, Antifa in the George Floyd riots had numbers written on their wrists, and some cyber people I know noticed those numbers. So they started to take screenshots and trace them. Where did they go back to? Well, the National Lawyers Guild, of course, because you got to get your enforcers out of jail, don't you? So they have a system, and they are all working together. The money comes from the top, from the foundations, and from the bottom, because what did they create? Act Blue. You all know what Act Blue is? Who doesn't know what Act Blue is? Okay, good. So you understand. I don't have to explain it. But who created Act Blue? No. Okay, you're failing this one. This no es bueno, okay? You need to know this. David Brock of Media Matters for America. How many of you know David Brock? Okay, that's at least maybe half the room. Okay, this operation, which by the way is an intelligence operation. This is how color revolutions are managed in foreign countries. Don't believe the nonsense about the guy that says he created the color revolution. This is an intelligence operation by the obvious agency, okay? And has been for a long time. So Act Blue and David Brock and Media Matters for America, Act Blue is the ingenious way that they figured out how to not just sweep up the top money, right, by robbing us all blind and sending everything to China and so on, destroying manufacturing and selling the lie of globalization as being the way forward for all of us to have a better life. Well, this is how they sweep up the grassroots money. Because you cannot run for office as a Democrat if you do not channel everything through Act Blue. You will be savaged and destroyed. You cannot donate to a cause unless you go through Act Blue. And if you don't designate who the money goes to specifically, because there's 40 million organizations using ActBlue, and you might not know that when you donate your $5 or your $20, your $50, then it reverts to who? It goes to Media Matters for America. And if the organization you designated doesn't claim that money within, it used to be 30 days, I haven't checked, it probably still is, guess what happens to the money? It reverts to Media Matters for America. So there you have an information arm. This is an information war. This is no longer a tool that people use on the battlefield. Propaganda, as old as war. It's not just one of the weapons. It is, the battlefield is your mind. So how do they get away with saying Larry Elder is a white supremacist? Because they're counting on the fact that you may not know that Larry Elder's black. And a lot of kids don't. They've never seen Larry Elder. They don't know. And they don't check. So they get away with it. How do you get away with saying, we have done everything humanly possible for the people of North Carolina? Because some people won't look. And they believe and they want to believe for one reason or another. Sometimes it's ideological. Sometimes this is my team and I'm going to blindly follow them. Sometimes it's like hatred. Sometimes it's corruption. A lot of the time it's corruption, right? Sometimes it's just the human inability to admit maybe I was wrong. So how do they get away with that? It's crazy to us, right? Because we see it. Well, this is what you need to know. You won't always be able to see it. If they get into power and prevail, you will never see it again. You won't have any idea whether you're watching AI or reality. You will be 100% geographically isolated in your feedback loop, where they feed you whatever they want to feed you. And because of AI and quantum computing, they can feed a different reality to every single human being, depending on what they want you to do. How many people here have uttered the words, well, I don't care if they're spying on me because I've never done anything wrong. I've got nothing to hide. If you've uttered those words, I want you lined up against the wall and shot. You're an idiot. Sorry, but you are. You're an idiot. If you really think it's about whether or not you've done something wrong, you're not paying attention. You really are not paying attention. It is about having the tools, in this case, the information, that allows us to manipulate your behavior when and how and if we choose. That's what it's about. So if I'm a Trump supporter and I'm in my feedback loop on social media, I'm getting stories about, oh, Maricopa County wins a victory in the elections. And then I'm getting another one about, you know, everything that reinforces my view that Trump is going to win by a landslide. And then maybe I don't bother to vote. That's a very, very light, superficial feedback loop that I'm demonstrating for you. Maybe if I never ever saw a Trump rally, ever, or the only pictures I saw were very negative, maybe I do believe Joe Biden won the election, which is like similar to having a lobotomy. Right? That's how believable it is. And I'm being kind, yeah, because it's the Republican Party, you know, I gotta behave. Okay, so, I mean, it's like you have a president who was the incumbent, who grew his vote amongst independents, the base, minorities. I mean, pick a category. He won the vast majority of the bellwether counties, the vast majority of the bellwether states. And yet, in 136 years, he pulled off what no one had done since Grover Cleveland. And he lost the election. Give me a break. Give me a break, okay? Sometimes being educated is a really bad thing. Because people who don't know all that details about, you know, what happened in this county, what happened in that county, they just know it's BS. They just know. Just like they know Kamala Harris ain't black. She ain't black, people, because she's on a cooking show saying I'm West Indian. And I grew up eating Indian food, by the way. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so right now, they don't have complete information dominance and total control, but it is around the corner. And the real battle coming our way is a battle against humanity. And I'm sorry, if you're one of those people who think, oh, I like her, she's kind of smart, but now she sounds kind of crazy. Lord above, start to educate yourself about these things, because we are light years away from you being on a Zoom call and you have no idea if anyone on that Zoom call is a real human being or AI. Or halfway through your call, it gets replaced by AI. You're not gonna know. Quantum computing is supposed to change the world. Elon Musk I love Elon Musk with what he's doing, and he's critical to this fight. I'm not turning anyone away from Elon Musk, but you just unveiled your robots and said that they could babysit my kids. Are you nuts? Your robot is not babysitting my kids, nor am I getting in a driverless car. Ain't gonna happen. Now, maybe people like me are just gonna die off, and our indoctrinated children and grandkids will rise up and they'll be fine with it, just like they're fine with having no privacy. Maybe. But I posted on X, what happens when your robot crushes my child's skull in its little robot hands and no one's accountable? Was it hacked? Was it spoofed, which is a technique where they take it over? Was it programmed that way? Did something go wrong with it? Oh, it malfunctioned. Oh, wait, did you hear that? It malfunctioned. Does that remind you of anything? Oh, the machine malfunctioned. Wasn't really cheating. It wasn't really cheating. The machine, all those votes that were flipped, that was a malfunction, but we fixed it, don't worry. Yeah, how many swing states have had those conversations? Too many. So what you're fighting this network of affinity groups who, whether we have an election or not, whether Trump wins that election or not, whether Trump is ever allowed to take office or not, if he ever makes it to office, if he's allowed to govern or not, those affinity groups, that network will be activated. Are you ready to take it on? How? How are you going to fight it? Because I seem to remember post-George Floyd, I didn't see a lot of people fighting. I saw a lot of people hiding. When somebody pointed at you and said you're racist, I saw a lot of people run. Prove it? Not hard. Look at the results. Antifa still lives. And they're still a threat. And most of them have never ever seen any kind of accountability. Their financial networks are not disrupted. I can give you, okay, name one whistleblower from the last few years. Oh, you don't know the names of the whistleblowers. So the people that you're relying on to save the country, the people who you expect to stand up to authority and give up their jobs and their pensions and their livelihood and become unemployable, you don't know their names. Shame on you. Right? Shame on you. They don't all disappear. They're around. Tariq, oh gosh, now I said that, I can't remember, his surname's gone out of my head. Look at me. Johnson, Tariq Johnson, the only Capitol Police officer to stand up and try to tell the truth about what really happened from his perspective on January 6th. What does Tariq do now? 23 years he served on Capitol Hill, one administration after another. He was the man that evacuated both the House and the Senate chambers. He was in charge of that. He wasn't a small guy. He gave up everything, and now he works for a furniture removal company, and he can barely pay his mortgage. And you don't even remember him, most of you. And he's not the only one. You expect good people to stand up and blow the whistle on the FBI or the CIA or whatever, and where are you when they do? That's one way that I can show you you're not in this fight. Just one way. I got 100 more. And it's not an indictment on you. We can only do what we can do. But if your child If you were standing, because I flew over here, I saw a lot of swimming pools. So if your grandchild or your child was drowning, would you say, I'd love to help, but I don't want to mess up my outfit? And I'd love to help, but I helped another kid last week, and poof, I done my bit. I'd love to help, but I got a family, I got other kids to worry about. If I jump in the water, maybe I'm going to drown. You're not going to do that. And yet, they are drowning. Our children are drowning in a sea of propaganda. Our children are under assault every single day. If your child has a PlayStation or an Xbox, they are currently being groomed by a child trafficking network in this country or overseas. 100% certainty. It's not an if, they are being groomed. So technology has given rise to an explosion of every form of darkness that you can think about and imagine. Whatever it is. What does this have to do with the machines? I'm going to show you. So every pedophile on earth that had to crawl into a little dark hole in some village or town or city apartment building somewhere before, not anymore. You gave them a home. You gave them the dark web. Now they can find each other. They can proliferate. They can make money. They're richer than they've ever been. They're more rewarded than they've ever been. They kill more children than they ever have. They rape more children than they ever have. And we walk blindly into a world where we are more and more and more dependent on that technology. Blindly. We don't ask any questions. We don't worry about it. Wait, let me see. Who owns those servers that houses the dark web? What cables does that information travel on? Which towers intercept it? A company called Ericsson has been around, I think, for over 200 years. Well, Ericsson owns the national child exploitation hotlines in 152 countries. So every bit of child pornography that is reported to those centers is stored on Ericsson's servers. They could recycle it. They could mine it for information. They could figure out almost every single person on the planet who's in power, who's into child porn or participates in it. I mean, you all know that knowledge is power. And they have unprecedented amounts of knowledge today because we carry a little thing called a surveillance device, and if that's not enough, we got another one in our car, we've got another 10 in our house, because we've got TVs, we've got Alexa, we've got computers, we've got laptops. These are all surveillance devices. They're being used in this election to gather all of your data. They don't just look at, did you vote once before? They look at, what does your medical records show? Are you likely to make it to the polls this year? Did you have a death in the family recently? Have you been out since then? You're someone who the AI can assess. You have a lot of receipts for restaurants, but after your mother died, those went way down, so you're not leaving the house much. Well, what does the GPS say about where you're going and how often you're going anywhere? Well, it shows that this person is crippled by grief. So is there a high probability or a medium probability that they're not going to vote this year? Do you only vote in primaries? Do you only vote in general elections, or do you vote in primaries as well? They have built a digital twin of every single one of us. Why are they all buying our data? Why does it matter to them whether you like motorbikes or beach vacations? Because it is about manipulation and control. The data allows them to understand the scale of the cheat that is going to be needed. Automatic voter registration gives them how many names on the voter rolls that they can vote under. Kids that when they get a license at 16, and they're not going to vote till they're 18, well, I got 2 years. I can vote in this kid's name and no one's going to know. You think when that kid comes to the polls at 18, they're going to know that they voted before? They're not. So all of these policies, the census. What are you not allowed to ask on the census? Okay, are you a citizen? Cannot ask that, it's illegal. Okay, so I'm a sanctuary city, I'm a sanctuary state. Ever wondered why California has so many delegates in the House? Don't tell me that illegal immigration is not already deciding US elections, because you have delegates in the House of Representatives that you do not deserve under US law, because we counted your whole population and we gave you the number of congressmen based on people who are here illegally. And it goes on and on and on. Okay, and you can point to the dead people voting, and you can point to the people out of state, and you can point to ERIC, the electronic voter registration system that is designed basically to centralize all our voting records so it's easier for them to cheat. But at its core, machines took the steal from pickpocketing to global credit card fraud, like that. And I'm sorry, but I know there's a lot of precinct chairs and other people in this room. How many of you speak code? Okay, you speak code. So when you look at a QR code that's someone marks something on a ballot, puts it in a machine, it spits out a QR code, you can tell me what it says? Okay, so none of us speak code. That's the truth. Because every computer programmer in the world knows that he can write his own unique, he or she can write their own unique code, and they can mask what is buried in that code. They can cover their tracks. And some people might be able to figure out what it says. Some other programmers might be able to figure out what it says. What's the first thing they've got to have access to? The code. So when you stand in your county, you stand there in your county and you say everything was done appropriately, the truth is you don't have any idea. You're committing fraud upon the American people. We all know it's too late once the election has happened. Once the steal is over, we saw in 2020, it's too late. It is too late because the courts are not going to do what they're supposed to do. The district attorneys, the corrupt leaders, the corrupt secretaries of state, the corrupt attorney generals, the corrupt governors, they span both sides of the aisle. We know this. It is not a shock. It is not a surprise. It is not a conspiracy theory. They span both sides of the aisle. Whoever cheats only gets away with it when the other side helps them in the cover-up. That's the reality. When Mitch McConnell stood up and said, January 6th was a dark day, insurrection, blah, 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 blah. Please, are you kidding me? They cannot get the conservatives and the independents and the libertarians if the only people speaking up for the steal are Democrats. The architects of the cover-up are not the Democrats. The architects and guardians of the steal are the Republicans. Those rhinos that you just like, oh, well, we can't do anything about that. Really? You better figure it out. Because when you say that, you surrendered. And it's a war. This is a war. This is a war for everything that you believe in. This is a war for your freedom. This is a war for God. This is a war for your children and your grandchildren. This is a war. And it is an undeclared covert war. I could stand here and tell you, probably want to know about this. I can tell you there are 3, according to intelligence sources that I have spoken to and a lot of evidence that I have looked at. I can't see everything, but I've seen a bunch. There are 3 kill teams that have crossed the southern border already, include IRGC Iranian operatives. These are Iranian-made missiles. They were originally Russian missiles that were copied by the Chinese, manufactured in Iran. They want you all to believe if these people are successful that the Iranians killed Donald Trump or the Iranians did this or that, whatever, and then that'd be great, because then MAGA rises and the right has their Ukraine, and you're led into another war. That doesn't mean those kill teams are not a threat, but it's incumbent upon us to see the threats for what they are. When you hear that the FBI has arrested an Afghan who came in, in the immediate aftermath of the destruction and betrayal, that abomination that we carried out, how we murdered our allies and handed their biometrics to the terrorists responsible for 9/11 and gave them a terrorist state to grow into a terrorist superstate for the world, which is what Afghanistan has become. Well, when you hear that, what you are looking at is an information warfare shaping operation. They are getting you used to the idea that there are terrorists from ISIS in the country who are seeking to disrupt the election. Well, guess what? That may be true. And when the next attack happens, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, they were right. But what if the people directing that attack were not ISIS? What if our own intelligence agencies, working with the terrorist leaders they installed in Afghanistan, were directing those attacks? Because they cannot risk having Donald Trump back in office. Not because it's Donald Trump, but because Donald Trump represents the will of the people. And he's willing to fight, right? He's willing to fight. And how many could survive all of the attacks and everything else? Very few. We know that. We know that. And what else do we know? We know that of the people, for the people, and by the people is not a bumper sticker. But they've treated it like one. They put it on our cars and they throw it at us. And when the people stood up and said, yeah, you're right. It is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And so I'm not going to choose an establishment candidate. I'm not going to go with the guy that is Slick Willie like Barack Obama. I'm not doing that. I don't want the witch who leaves a trail of bodies in her wake. She who shall not be named. Okay. I don't want her. And I don't want her because I'm realizing that you all make promises you don't keep. And I've had enough. I mean, seriously, why do we have the Federal Reserve? Why do we have them? Why do we have a system where a small group of people use the US Mint to print money, we borrow it from them as if it's worth much more than it is. They charge us astronomical amounts of debt that we can never get out of. Who created that system and said it was good for us? People know it's not good for us, okay? Why should deplorables work their guts out, live in trailer parks or, mobile homes, because they're not all in trailer parks, or small, modest houses, and work sometimes 2-3 jobs, so that your children can go to Ivy League universities, and I gotta pay the bill? Are you nuts? You're paying for that. What are you doing? Good Lord above, I live in a small country town, and a teacher in my town cannot afford a house. Our firemen are volunteer. We don't even have money, paid firemen. What are we doing? People are working from, Monday to Friday, and they're doing their National Guard duty. Guardsmen come up and serve in Texas. Some of them stay at my house. Some of them sleep in their cars because the only place for them to sleep is in the armory, and it gets full. You don't even know where your guardsmen sleep. You don't even know what's being done in your name. But people have figured it out. They have figured out that we're tired of being lied to. And the people, this election, these machines, this is all, it doesn't matter, Smartmatic, Dominion, ESNS, Hard Civic, it doesn't matter. They're all using the same software. And this is my question to you. Where are the servers? Where are they? Who controls the servers? Why do we not have access to them? Does it not say that your vote is secret, but the count is public? Does it not say that? Do you have cameras in every voting station? Why not? Why is it not broadcast live? Why do you not have cameras from every position and do a permanent live feed? Why did they stop counting in 2020? But why did we let them? Who called it? No. Fox called Arizona. That's not what happened in every county in America where they stopped counting. That happened in one county and it had nothing to do with the stopping of the count. Fox called Arizona with less than 10% of the vote counted, as you all know. And as you all know, that was a play. That was how they departed from 2016 and showed everybody who they really were and whose side they were really on. And it had to be led by the right, because otherwise it wasn't going to be believable. And then it had to be carried by the right. And one by one, they all capitulated, didn't they? They all said, oh, we can't talk about election integrity. And isn't it a weird thing that so many Republicans today still don't want to talk about 2020 and don't want to talk about election integrity? So what are the practical things that you can do about this? Well, what is happening right in front of your eyes is your future and your freedom is being taken from you. And this may be the last election we ever have, because according to Yuval Noah Harari, the scientific advisor to the World Economic Forum, and others, predictive AI will tell us how we're all going to vote. So we don't need elections. It's more convenient. And by the way, it's not so expensive. That's better, right? We don't have to pay for elections. Never mind, why does nobody ask what the machines cost and how often the machines have to be replaced and how much money is being poured into the machines? Nobody asks these questions. What's wrong with you? Ask these simple questions, because the truth is always simple. And it will lead you to them. Like when people tell you young blood is the secret to everlasting youth, who asks, where does the blood come from? How much blood do you need? Is it more youthful, like more powerful, the younger the blood? Like teenage blood versus baby blood, toddler blood? What's your supply? And how do you sustain that supply? We don't ask these questions. I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory. NBC, USA Today, you can search online. You'll find 1,000 articles telling you that the secret to anti-aging is young blood. There's Elon Musk's partner who established PayPal with him, has got his own site. He spends millions of dollars every month on anti-aging, and once a month he vacates his blood and gives it to his father, and his 17, probably 18-year-old son now vacates his blood and gives it to him. I mean, this is public information. It is not conspiracy theories. So these are the people that are taking control. The people who are quite happy with the rise of technology because it allows them to replicate what? The omnipotence of God. Facial recognition, voice recognition. If I showed up at your house and said, hey, I work for Google, I'm just going to follow you around your house. I'm going to go to the toilet with you. I'm going to be next to the bed when you're having sex. Right? I'm going to do everything with you. That's where you take your phone. Who are they selling your data to? When you sign up for telemedicine, when you go to the online patient portal, did you read the small print that says that they have an unlimited worldwide perpetual copyright of everything that's on there? When you were an architect, you emailed someone a copy of your design. Did you read the small print when it said that they own it? Just because they don't use it yet doesn't mean they don't have the power and the ability to use it. This is coming, and it's right upon us. And what is at its core? What does it have in common with our elections? The machines. As long as our elections remain in the hands, well, first of all, are written in a language we can't read or speak, we will never, ever know what they really say. And even when we get access to them, you want a couple of programmers to be the ones to tell you what it says, or would you rather read it yourself? I'm a journalist, okay? Why do I go to the front lines and risk my life? Why do I put myself through that hell? Because I want to know the truth. I don't want someone else to tell me what happened there. I want to see it with my own eyes. Well, it's the same thing with my elections. I want to know that programmers working for the Venezuelans, the Chinese, the Iranians, and our domestic enemies, those who collaborate with them, I want to know that they didn't decide months before the election in some room thousands of miles away when they inserted code into our election files that they didn't take my vote away from me. Because that's what they've done. I can guarantee you right now. They have inserted one line of code, one line into the election files. So I don't know exactly how it works here in Maricopa, but I can tell you in other places, people say, oh, well, we upload our election files. And what do? They take a little thumb drive and they plug it into the machines, the voting machines. And it gives you instructions on how to upload the files. You didn't write that file, and you don't know what it says. If I put a gun to your head, you couldn't tell me what it says. You don't know. You don't actually know. So don't bear false witness. Don't do it. Don't bear false witness, because everything that you're afraid of losing is gone if you do that. Every single thing that we love and hold dear and value is going. I mean, right down to our ability to eat real food. Food technology, isn't that a great thing? Well, maybe if you're starving to death and someone offers you a protein bar, it wouldn't be so bad. But I'd rather eat what God gave me. And when they tell you that the earth is running out of resources, how can CO2 be a trace gas that is completely critical to almost every single form of life on earth? I would have said every, but I did a 60-minute story with a guy who found life under the earth, under the sea, in total darkness. But remember photosynthesis? They don't teach that anymore, because they don't want you to know that CO2 is not a poison. It can become poisonous at certain levels, but we need it for life on Earth. They don't want you to know that. But what are they going to take? They're going to take your animals. They're going to take your land. They're going to take private ownership of everything under the sun. They're going to take away your right to drive your own car. They're going to take all of it away. And if you think, well, I said it on television, I'm not going to eat bugs. Really? I know bugs are poisonous. That's why we don't eat them naturally. It's why we weren't designed to eat them. But if I'm starving to death, am I going to eat them? If they tell me that, all your children are going to be massacred if you don't comply, am I going to do it? We're taking baby steps now towards that reality. All of you know that anyone who supplies the Wi-Fi in your house can cut your Wi-Fi off at any time. Which means what? It means you're not in control. Well, the people who write the code inside the machines are in control of your elections. They're in control of your vote. They're in control of what you see, what you don't see, what you understand, what you don't. They are in charge. And it's a tiny, tiny group. When you start to narrow it down, those undersea cables, those cell towers, those software programs, I mean, what is it? Even if it was 10 million people, it would be a tiny fraction of the world's population who are now in charge of all of us. Smart houses, they want to run everything through one Wi-Fi signal so they can shut you down completely. They want you to consolidate all your devices at home, right, on one network. Why? So they can shut you down with one switch. They don't have to go to each device. So there are many things that we can do about this between now and the election. This is a mail-in ballot state. You can take your mail-in ballot with you to go and vote. And make sure that if they tell you, I'm sorry, you've already voted, your mail-in ballot was received, you can say, here's my mail-in ballot. I didn't print it out. I didn't fill it out. And you don't talk about elections. You talk about fraud. My identity's been stolen. I want you to call the sheriff. Right? You don't just let him steal your vote. You don't go home and say, well, here's the damnedest thing. They let me vote anyway. We know what's going to happen. They're going to count the first vote. They're not going to count your vote. We know what cannot happen for them to get away with the steal. They cannot end up with more votes than registered voters. So they bump up the voter rolls any way they can. Any way they can, through the census, through all the other things, early voting registration, all of those things. They bump it up, bump it up, bump it up, because that's the buffer they need. Because all this data is wonderful, but it's not 100%. They don't know, because their polls are full of lies. They don't know exactly how much they're going to need to cheat. That's why you have a water main break in Georgia, right? So you need to be and think like them and be insurgents and guardians. You are guardians of the future of humanity right here in Maricopa County. What you do here will resonate in every home in America. It will echo in every corner of the world. I am not saying this to flatter you. I am saying this to charge you with the full weight of the power that you hold in your hands. And together you are undefeatable. When we hide in our homes, when we cower, when we hope that maybe if I don't go to the Capitol on January 6th, or I don't get involved in this, or I don't get involved in that, maybe they'll spare me. When you think like that, you already speak the language of defeat. You've given it up. And so you may not feel very important. You may not feel very powerful, but I am a child that grew up in Africa in a time of Nelson Mandela. And I saw what one man can do. And there are many examples all around you. Start to look at who the whistleblowers are. Start to speak up on their behalf. If you have a company and you can offer someone a job, do it. Figure it out. There are many ways to help. But most importantly, your voices need to be heard. And even if you are afraid, courage is acting in the presence of your fear, not in the absence of fear. So don't let it hold you back. You know better than me many things that you can do with the time you have left before this election. But be prepared for attacks before, during, and after the election. Be prepared for the rise of those affinity groups that are funded, right? Whose the top layer goes from those NGOs, it goes into government. What is USAID, a front for the CIA? What do? They channel money into NGOs. How do you end up with what was it, the Environmental Protection Agency that was exposed recently for pouring $60 million into a radical Palestinian group that advocates for the genocide of every last living Jew? See what they're doing? More money laundering through the federal government. Why was John Solomon from Just the News attacked over Ukraine, of his Ukraine reporting, which led to the Trump impeachment? Why was he attacked? Because he had emails that showed that the Open Society Foundation was running meetings in the US Embassy in Ukraine, was actually running the meetings, arranging them, running them, following up on them. They're using your government to implement their radical agenda, their radical anti-human, anti-God agenda. And beyond that, if you look at Alex Newman and James Lindsay, those names I mentioned again, you will look at they have created a new form of Marxism. It's called stakeholder capitalism. They didn't use the M word. Who are the stakeholders? When you see that word, that's a Marxist dog whistle. Every red flag you have should be going up. And who are these stakeholders? These are the public-private partnerships that they talk about, where the public exists only to serve the private. Because now we put all these all these functions of our society we put in the hands of private corporations who are elected by nobody and served by all of us. Our blood, sweat, and tears, our tax dollars go into keeping them in style. They're living in style, by the way. If you're one of those people looking at the grocery bill and wanting to blow your brains out every time, okay, well, they're living at your expense. They really are. And it's time for that to end. And it's time for people to stop waiting for the cavalry, because you are the cavalry. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lara Logan, we have something special here, a nice gift for you to take home with you from Arizona. We prepared this for you. We appreciate you so much.
I can use the wine.
She says she can use the wine. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause. Lara Logan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just a few more minutes, just a little bit of housekeeping. There are a couple numbers who have not picked up your raffle. 218306, 218267, 218872, 091015, 218890. We just have just a couple more things. One legislator that we did not mention earlier, J.D. Messnard, Senator Messnard from LD 13 was here, so thank you for joining us. And just a couple other things, so please be seated if you wouldn't mind. We do have just a few more tickets. If you liked what Laura had mentioned here on stage and you'd like to have a little bit more up close and personal, I think there may be about 5 tickets left for tomorrow. And you can go on the MCRC website. It's at Maestro's City Hall. There is $150, but I think we only have about 5 tickets left if you'd like to have a little bit more up close and personal with Laura Logan. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, right now I'd like to welcome to the stage, if you wouldn't mind being seated just for one more minute, please. To give our farewell benediction, Cheryl O'Connor, if you wouldn't mind coming up to the stage to just give our closing prayer. And here you are.
Thank you so much. I just want to briefly address you. I want to thank you patriots, true patriots that are here today. You are the fighters, you are the salt of the earth, you are the shakers and the movers, and you get things done. And I want to give you a quick story just to encourage you. I see things springing up all over in the spiritual realm where we have people that are gathering together. There's prayer groups. That is good news because things are happening. In South Carolina, they voted in a new school board. And guess what happened? 2 hours after they were inaugurated, whatever the word is, let me tell you what they did. They fired the superintendent of schools. They fired the district attorney. The attorney that was the attorney for that district, they fired. They got rid of CRT. And then they set up a commission to say, we are not going to have pornography in our schools. All those books are going out. They did that 2 hours. Yay! I'm telling you, there's good things happening. And I want to encourage you, because you all know what a mess we're in. You just heard it all. We are in a mess of our lives, and the only way we're going to come out of this victorious is for God Almighty. That is the only way, and He is on the move. I can tell you there are things happening all over, and I want to lead us in a prayer of agreement. So, Father God, we thank you. We acknowledge who you are. We thank you that we can get things done with you by our side, that you are a creator, that you have this strategy against all this evil. You have the plan, God. You have what it takes. You have what we need. And we come together and we agree together that in November, we don't know how, but that you will give us the victory. We will have Trump back in office, and we will not have this corruption that we see now. We come against it in the mighty name of Jesus. We say no to you. You will not have our country. You will not have our children. You will not have our police officers. You will not buy people off any longer. We say no to that. And we thank you, Almighty God, that we are going to have the victory. We thank you, Father, that we have this victory in November. And remember when you pray that He does incredible things if you just ask Him. You pray and you ask Him and you thank Him for the declaration of the victory that we're going to have. Now, we're going to have a fight, but we are going to win. In Jesus' name, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much to our whole MCRC board for making this all happen. Thank you for coming. Thank you for our speakers who did such a great job. Thank you for the hotel and for everybody else who helped organize this. Bob Gomez, Lisa Young, thank you so much. We're going to leave you with this one last video. Thank you so much. We want victory, and remember, the right to suffrage belongs to we the people and we the people only. I'm Ray Michaels. Again, thank you so much for coming.